now tuned in to Frankie Rose's Crime Updates. Crime Updates. You are now tuned in to Frankie Rose's Crime Updates. Crime Updates.
Let's switch to suspense. Let's switch to suspense.
You are now tuned in to Frankie Rose's Crime Updates. Crime Updates. Crime Updates. You are now tuned in to Frankie Rose's Crime Updates. Crime Updates.
Friends, I hope you're doing well. It's Frankie Rose. Welcome to my channel. So, no thanks. Just did a great interview with Candace Cooley. And if you didn't see it, he did give us permission to put it out there. And I think I want to do that. It's slowing down all the information that we're getting on Dylan. So hopefully we can renew the interest a little bit. Hey, thank you, Hermit. So yeah, I'm going to start this and, maybe take some breaks in between and chit chat about stuff. Lots of great information.
A long, extravagant intro. We're going to just get right to it. We got a special guest today. We're going to keep the chat all about Dylan Rounds. If you get out of line, you're gone. That's a fact. Respect our guests and respect the fact that we're looking for Dylan Rounds, and it's going on way, way too long. Let's get right to it, you guys. Thank you for being here. Hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Share this out on your social media. Let's get into the show. Ladies, hello. Candace, hello.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for doing that.
No problem. First of all, I wanted to thank you for reaching out to me. And that means the world to me. And Dylan's case means the world to a lot of us, and for the right reasons. And there's a lot of biased stuff that's been thrown into this case in the very beginning. And we thought it was a good way to get this thing back out there and not let this case turn cold by being a voice again for Dylan, but answering the questions that the people want answered rather than these panels just going up and speculating and really just making a mess of things, right?
Yes.
Right. I mean, I think it's better to, get the facts straight from the source than it is to speculate and guess and get a whole lot more, misinformation going. We don't need that. That doesn't help Dylan.
So now that we're all on the same page, Candace, I want to give you the floor for a second to kind of just give your thoughts before we get into this and again, why we're doing this.
So first of all, I'd like to thank everybody joining. We, as a family, especially me, we feel like Dylan's case has left media attention. It, in the beginning, never got the attention it needed. We are trying to keep Dylan's name out there, keep Dylan's face out there, keep everything going to bring our son home. As Doug said, there's been a pile of speculation. There has been so much misinformation. I wanted to reach out to this audience and clear some of this up. And we've had so many questions that say, what can we do to help? And we will address that. But all the questions have been amazing. Everybody who has reached out to the email that Doug set up, there's really no questions that I felt offended me, would offend the family. I believe it's all stuff that we need to clear up, get the facts out to the public to keep Dylan's face and name out there to help bring him home. And that is what we are focused on.
Great. And I agree 100%. And I know, and I hope, and I know Justin's on board too, with wanting to find Dylan and keeping his name out there, whatever the case and whatever it may take. So we're all here for the same reasons. Now, there were some extra questions that had just came in, and we will get to how you guys can help at the end. Again, you guys will be surprised at what there is for you guys if you guys want them. There's some very nice things on the Facebook page that you guys will be able to find, and we'll go over those a little bit later. But first, do you have those questions, those extra ones, Candace,
Yes.
that just
Yep.
came in?
Yeah, so don't mind as I look back and forth because they're ones. So we had some questions come in that I had some mixed emotions about, and I spoke to Doug about them, and then I decided, no, we're going to go ahead and answer these, and we're going to get this speculation out. So first one, which grandma did Dylan call? It was his grandma Rounds, who also helped him get in on the farm. Why do all the missing persons posters have different dates? We don't make the missing posters. They have been made by multiple groups. So if there's been some conflicting dates, I will clear that up right now. And I know in my one interview with Nate Eaton, I said when we got out there May 28th, it was May 30th. And I apologize for making that mistake, but it has been an emotional roller coaster. And sometimes you're going to get the date wrong. Last time anybody heard from Dylan was May 28th. Justin, I, and family arrived on the scene May 30th. So I apologize for making that slip up, but it has happened. And as far as the missing posters, we've had dozens of people make them. So why did she interview with the news media guy that Dylan's boots? Oh, I don't know if this is pulling all the way up, Doug.
Okay. It says
that Dylan's boots were
found.
Yeah.
Why did she state in the news meeting that Dylan's boots were found?
They were found on day one on May 30th.
Right.
And that's when I slipped up and said May 28th. That was a simple human error. I'm not perfect, people. I wish I was, but
100%.
nobody.
No,
So
nobody's
that's
perfect.
How many acres did Dylan seed? He seeded his one pivot. He planted his one pivot, which is irrelevant anyways, but that's what he planted. Why did Randy Gamble purchase a seed for Dylan? First of all, it's a Gamble Ranch. I don't know who Randy Gamble is, and nobody purchased seed for Dylan. He purchased it himself. That's what brought into question that $1,000 check. I think it was $32,000. I actually made that bill for Dylan. That was from his custom planning, and that's what he used to pay his bills and purchase his seed. Nobody purchased it for Dylan. Why did Candace state in the very first interview that Dylan's boots had blood on them? Because I was told that by Box Elder County. I was told that before the boots ever got to the lab. So
Wow.
I was relaying information that I was told, and I said that in our last Nate Eaton interview that you aired yesterday, Doug, that we were told this, they weren't even at the lab. So that's why I said.
Makes sense.
Does she believe Dylan was sitting in the dark Friday, May 27th? Yes. We have eyewitnesses that were in the area camping that seen Dylan's tractor lights.
Okay.
Where did the $100,000 reward money come from? The family. No GoFundMe. Never have asked for a donation. Never will. It's from the family. His father and I spoke with Justin and we discussed going from 20,000 to 50, and Justin said, no, let's go straight to 100. Let's find our son. And I agreed. And so that's what we did. Dylan stuck up for Brenner. So why now is he the suspect? He is a suspect because there is evidence. And nobody even knew who Brenner was before this happened. So I don't know how you say Dylan stuck up for Brenner. Did you talk to Dylan? Did Dylan tell you this himself? Where are you getting this? The family, we have always said we had no hair-raising experiences. We didn't have any reason to believe Dylan was any danger being around him. So I don't know if that comes from another interview, from somebody else. I don't know. Did Candace see any traces of Brenner owning a horse and keeping it out? I can't read the rest of that, but I've read them. Yeah, that horse was there since the first time I went there 3 years ago. It's not relevant. He had the horse. We know this. He always had the horse. Why did Dylan say Candace ran into Chase on Wednesday, then 3 days later?
I'm sorry, I didn't have the whole one. This is what you sent me. So this is all I have.
Okay, well, so the reason I said he ran into Chase is because Dylan called and told me. I did not know it was Chase. Dylan said a guy. I was later then told by Brenner, by Dawn, by Kurt Wadsworth, it was Chase. We later confirmed that. We also confirmed that Dylan did give Chase a ride. Our whole first motive, and this will answer some of the other questions, was when Dylan told me that Wednesday morning, I was doing my flowers at Costco, the crazy story what had happened, he said, a guy, and he said, I did not give him a ride, Mom. I left him there. Well, of course he said that. If he would have told me he gave this guy a ride from the desert, I would have chewed his butt. Like, you can't do that, son. So he's a 19-year-old kid. Of course you're going to leave some parts out to Mom and Dad and Grandma and Grandpa and whoever. But we did get confirmation he did give Chase a ride. So our motive for Chase was, well, if Dylan found him in the desert with no shoes and left him, and then Dylan goes missing and we find his boots, like I was thinking revenge. Right? That's exactly where your mind goes, is revenge.
Right.
Until we found out Dylan gave Chase a ride. What day did Candace have her cousin clone Dylan's phone? I haven't looked back on the date, but I put it on Facebook and said it's us.
Yeah, I find this very interesting, and it's really good because she has answered a whole bunch of questions. So, yeah, we kind of needed to see the other side as well. So I was really glad to see that No Thanks did this. He did a great job at interviewing. I was very impressed.
That doesn't matter. I've talked to the family. I don't know who Christopher Lloyd is. So why did Christopher Lloyd ask where Dylan's motorbike was? Did Dylan have them? Okay, Dylan had 2 motorbikes. Neither one of them ran, and I don't know who Christopher Lloyd is.
Christopher Lloyd is actually somebody who has a house out there in Montello, and then also out of Montello area. So he goes and he's starting a little farm over there. And he's friends with Ty, and he's friends with
yes,
people like that.
I didn't know who he was, but I can clarify. Dylan bought my dad's XR 500 years ago. My brother-in-law helped him get it running. It's no longer running, and the other dirt bike he has is no longer running, and neither one of them were at the farm. Hence why we have said every tractor, everything Dylan had access to motorized has been accounted for. So yeah. Why did Justin hire someone else to fill in the water lines and not Kurt? So the confusion on this one is there was a hole out in the field where they were fixing the main line. Justin actually brought somebody out because Box Elder County told us, let's dig up the main line. So Justin brought somebody out to dig up the main line, and then it was later filled back in. The main line was completely buried when we got there, besides where the hole was that they were digging up where the main line needed fixed.
Right.
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know I don't know the whole extent of that question or how to answer it 100%. I just know Justin had somebody come out and dig it up per Box Elder's request, and that's what we did, and then it was filled back in. Was Kurt's pails of hydraulic oil at the farm when they arrived? There's hydraulic oil everywhere. How am I supposed to know what's Kurt's and what's not? And what does a pail of hydraulic oil have to do with anything? And as far as hydraulic oil, it's in a 5-gallon bucket or a big drum. It's a pail to me is something you water your dogs with.
Right.
So, I don't know on that one. I don't know whose hydraulic oil was whose. They didn't put labels on stuff.
Right. I mean,
what are you going to label it for Chase to steal?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Why did Candace make it very clear that Dylan won't be found out there? Where have I ever made that clear? Where have I ever said Dylan won't be found out there? I said you're not going to go out in that desert and film his farm and stumble across him. We've done that. I spent out there 3 weeks. Justin was out there for almost 2 months, I want to say. You're not going to go out there and film simple stuff and stumble across Dylan. That's the only thing I've said. I've never said we won't find Dylan out there. I said you're not going to stumble across him. We've been there. We've done What happened to the Ford New Holland tractor that Tom Hopper had leased, then had repoed? None of us know anything about Dylan having a Ford or a New Holland, and none of us know who Tom Hopper is. So I don't know.
Are they maybe thinking Tom Hardy?
I don't even know who that is.
Maybe, because I've never heard of a Tom Hopper.
But
I've heard of
Dylan
Hardy.
Dylan never had a Ford or Holland tractor out there.
Okay.
So I have no clarification on that. Besides, I have no idea on that question. And I want to tell you still, thank you for your questions. It is definitely some clarification. And that's what this is all about, is clarification and getting the facts out. So
Right.
we wanted to get those right out of the way, and just put some of, the stuff that people have heard that we don't even know who some of these people are.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean-
Well, I'm glad that you decided to go through those because, you've actually accepted every single question that has come through to us. Not
Yes.
one that
No.
didn't come through to us that we didn't accept. Some of you guys sent double questions in, so you guys will hear your questions. It just, we're not saying any authors. So I will go ahead and get started.
Okay.
And these questions are very general, very basic, but they answer a lot of questions, all the stuff that people have been speculating on. So let's turn that speculation into facts. People out there, whoever needs to use this video, please use it. Please get the word out for Dylan. It's not about the clicks and the views. If you get way more clicks and views on my video than I do, fine. Get it out there. I
It
do
is what
not
it is. We
care. Please do this for us. So how's the rest of the family doing? The other children and your immediate family, and then also the Rounds side.
So we have all pulled together. We are each other's support. As adults, we have a little more, and don't take when I say level head in the wrong way. Like Justin and I's other two kids, I can't imagine going through these emotions as a teenager. We have a little bit better way of comprehending, as much as we despise we're going through this, as much torture as it is. But the other two, how do you comprehend that as a teenager? And I will tell you what, they are doing amazing. Those two
Good.
kids have stood up and they have rallied around the family, and the family has rallied. We're miserable, we're mad, we're furious, we're sad. We don't even know what to feel, but we're holding it together as a front, united for each other.
Great. It kind of reminds me of like the Petito family. They had two sides of her family that are really loving, really caring.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? And you got this missing person in between, and some families fold and break. But I'm glad to see that you guys have created the forefront of strength, and that makes that wall harder to break. So that's very commendable.
To be able to, come together and
Yeah.
to support each other through it, that is amazing, and that is really great that you have that support. I'm glad that everybody has kind of rallied around you with that.
Yes.
Which helps too, because we need to get that fact straight too, because there was a lot of trajectory in the beginning of this of how like you guys were not talking, and there was this huge dislike and everything, and
Right.
that wasn't the case, and
That was not the case from the second I called Justin and asked him if he heard from Dylan, and he was coming back with Brooklyn from a vacation, and it was an immediate meet in the middle and let's find Dylan. There has never been a waiver in that. There has never been, we all have our moments, right? We're emotional.
Right.
We're
Of
exhausted.
course.
All going to have our anger moments, but we have all stuck together. My husband, his family, my family, him, our family, our extended family. We have all stuck on the page of we need to bring Dylan home, period.
Right.
hashtag bring Dylan home. That's what we need
Exactly.
to keep going. Is there anything that we can do to help you that we're not already doing?
So we're trying to figure out, as everybody knows, and there's some more questions on that, so we'll touch on it more later, have been trying to get Box Elder to relinquish lead, and anybody who's been following kind of knows why. We're going to start publicly requesting stop calling Box Elder County, because they told us they won't relinquish lead. We need to go to the attorney general and we need to go to the governor because they're the ones who truly have the power. And
Now, can we do that with you, or is it just you guys that have the only power as family?
We want everybody. We want everybody, all of our supporters, all these people who have rallied around Dylan to bring him home. Call in, tell them this has been handled ridiculous. And that is on a factual based way. It's been handled ridiculous. We want it turned over. And I think we are rightfully so in wanting that.
Exactly. And I don't understand what their issue is
Either.
doing that. If they
turn it over, they turn over their mistakes. That's what happens. If they turn it over, they turn over their mistakes.
That's what I'm
And they
afraid of.
can't do that, because then the IA investigation gets real hairy.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
we're just gonna have to force them to do that. I mean,
Well,
This is what she's asking us to do. So if you're listening to what she's asking, you call the attorney general. Let them know Box Elders dropped the ball, and we're tired of watching this online and being the ones that are putting this in the news, because nobody wants to bring out no new information. That's why it's called news. News.
and let me tell you, and this will also answer a lot of questions as we go through. Why Box Elder County did you never do a press release on Dylan? Why did you never do a press conference? Why did you never call it to the public's attention and say, please help us find this young man? That has never been done. They have never spoken to anybody in the media, whether it be YouTube or mainstream media. They have stuck their head in the sand. Why? And I don't want to take anything away from any other missing kid, young adult, wife. I don't care of the age. Why do all these other people get the coverage, multiple press conferences, but Box Elder, you can't do it for Dylan? Why not? Is he not worth it to you?
It's fair.
I mean, I don't feel like as a family we're being unrealistic in asking these questions.
not at all.
Are they getting more mad as you ask more and more? Are they or are they just not contacting you?
I have not spoken to anybody from Box Elder County since Justin and I were there on August 29th. When they read a press release saying they were going to relinquish control, they told us, we had a meeting with them, it was only 40 minutes long. They told us they were going to release a press release in a day or two. Sheriff Potter read it to Justin and I directly and said, we will release this in a day or two. I need to have a few other people read it over. That was August 29th. That's never been released. So a lot of people tell me, well, it's not that big of a deal, Candace. Yes, it is, because the sheriff looked at us, and he read it to us, and he told us he was going to release it, and he didn't. That is a bull-faced lie to a victim's family, to their face. That is not okay. That's absolutely okay at all.
Let me ask you a question. Is that the same sheriff's wife that's attacking you on Facebook?
Yeah, and you know, I briefly go over that. No, I'll briefly go over it. I never attacked her. I put out some pictures to keep the story out there of the first meeting with the sheriff and his wife. In that post, I put, you decide. I did not waver anybody's opinion. I did not waver which side I wanted them to go on. You look at the pictures and you decide. And the public decided. I did not tell them how to respond or what to decide. And there's been people on there that say, well, we agree with her. She was reaching out as a mother. Great. That's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not going to sit and argue with you. I put it out there for people to see what we have been going through as a family. How we've been treated.
Right. Right quick before we get into the other questions, Beryl, what is the reason, thank you, Beryl, what is the reason they have stated that they will not release the case? Please. Thanks.
They gave us a reason.
Wow.
Well, they can't even give you a reason. That's sad.
There
That's
was
sad on their part.
They said Weaver County and the SBI, which is the State Bureau of Investigation, and the FBI, and the FBI has been great. Don't get me wrong, the FBI guy has been amazing, but he's not lead. And I've said that multiple times. So if you're reaching out and you're saying we are going to accept help, we're going to bring in these other people, as a family, do we not have the right to know what are you asking these other people to do? What are you asking them to do? So we read that statement. Like I said, still in constant contact with our FBI agent, but as far as Box Elder, they don't even want to release that they're accepting assistance. Why don't you want to release that? Do you not want the public to know you're accepting it, or do you want them to not know because you didn't do anything at the beginning? Like, we truly don't know. We are left to guess. We are left to guess.
And do you think like starting a petition to get Elder off of this, would that help any at all?
The thousands of phone calls and the thousands, when Missing America set out where everybody could print out and send that postcard, and there was thousands sent out. That's why we're focusing towards the state offices, because we blew Box Elder's phones up, everything we had. I mean, there was thousands upon thousands. And that's when they finally reached out to have the meeting with Justin and I via another agency. They didn't call us personally. It was via agency. So no, I do not believe that going after Box Elder any further is going to help, because they've stuck their heads in the sand. So
Attorney General, people call the Attorney General, voice your opinions, like he says. Let's rock and roll. I expect 821 calls after this thing ends. If not more people come in, I'm sure we'll get more coming in right now. But 821 of these phone calls. Dan Iverson, do you know him, and what is his working relationship with Dylan like?
So yes, I do know Dan, and I've known him from past business deals a long time ago. And Dan was so impressed by Dylan. He was impressed by his work ethic. I mean, this is a man older than me that hired our son and entrusted Dylan in planting his crops. He planted Dan's crop. There was nothing. Dan is so clear and he would never harm Dylan, and he had no reason to. He just, I don't know if all you viewers seen the last picture I put on Facebook when I visited Dylan, my husband and I did back in April 30th, and I put that picture on when he's doing dishes.
Yeah.
Right.
And, okay, that was where he was helping Dan also, Independence Valley, and he was out helping us search. He has nothing, no reason to. I mean, this is the first year Dan ever met Dylan, and just so. Amazed with them, and they don't make them like that anymore.
Not everybody in Lewiston and Montello are bad. There's a handful of good people still left.
I really think after Justin spent a lot of time there, and more people there's a lot more good that is there than bad, and even a lot of the bad. I'm not, it's bad. It's all a matter of opinion, I guess I should say, on what you consider to be bad. But even those people, there's very few that have been looked at that would have any reason to harm Dylan.
Right.
Right.
And we'll get into a few and what you think after these questions, because there's a few things we're gonna talk about after this. Do you think it's possible Jim Brenner is being set up?
Absolutely not. No.
Who are your suspects? Top suspects?
Brenner. Sadly, of evidence, and I will tell all the viewers that does not mean everybody's ruled out.
Right.
But from evidence that has been gathered, there's a reason why he has been called the suspect, and him only, and that is off of evidence. So Do we question other people? Do we think about stuff? Does our mind spin and think, well, maybe this person? Absolutely. If you guys as listeners and viewers have thought about it once, Justin and I and the family have thought about it a million times.
Oh, I'm sure.
So it's one of those things where it's like we are sticking to the facts and the evidence, because as a mother and a father and the family, if we let our mind run wild with all of these, well, could it be, or is it, or, I mean, it never stops. I still walk to the grocery store and look over my shoulder. Everywhere I go, I'm suspicious of people. It has changed my outlook on the whole world.
Are you in fear? Are you in fear for yourself? Like someone's
No,
going to do something?
okay. No, I just look at people and I think, what'd you do today? It's a whole different outlook of, you could be a violent criminal and I would never know it.
Have you had that moment where you thought you saw Dylan?
Oh, I've had tons of those.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It just makes you turn your head. A teenager with the cough hat. Absolutely.
And a lot of people like talk about the hats and stuff. I don't know if that question was in here. Can you answer that, or do we know if that hat that Jim Brenner found?
I will answer that. I don't know if I'm supposed to or not, but it's been out on Facebook. We did come across some pictures of Brenner with that hat on months before Dylan's disappearance. That last picture I took of Dylan, April 30th, he has that hat on. Dylan does. And months before, Brenner had the hat on. So I believe they both had the hat. I know it was taken in from DNA. I don't know what's come of it, but I can tell you that's my personal, now that we've looked back through all of our pictures, everything, it takes you a little bit to get your bearings back and start looking back through everything. So I started going back through all of Dylan and myself's text, and his father did, and his aunt did, and his grandma did, and we got pictures of Brenner with that hat on months before Dylan's disappearance.
Awesome.
That answers a lot of question. Hybrid Pisces says, I'm sorry for your experience with social media.
Yeah, Doug's a great interviewer. He listens. He doesn't butt in. He let her speak and say what she needed to, and asked really great questions. So yeah, I like the fact that he allows us to do this, because I need to see something like a few times, and each time I learn something more. So I'm glad that you guys are enjoying this. And that other fellow, yeah, I just didn't like him. I made him gone. Okay.
Media started out badly. I hope we can come together from here on out for Dylan.
Social media can be a force for good and bad. We all need to come together for Dylan. Thank you so much, Hybrid. I agree.
Thank you.
I agree. That's what we're doing here today. That's why I encourage you guys to use this video. Please share it out. Get Dylan's name out there. Make money off it. Who cares? Please get his name out. How do you feel about Don Hatley and him holding out on information on the guns of Brenner's?
So I'm going to give you my personal opinion. I can't speak for law enforcement. He gave the guns up, right? He gave them up. Yeah. Why did you hide them in the first place?
Yeah, that was my question.
That is my feelings. Like I said, I can't sit and I aren't being told. But as a mother, that is my feelings. I don't care that you gave them up. I want to know why you hit them.
He gave him up the second round too. He didn't give him up right away.
No. Yeah. So that is my feeling. I don't have an answer for it. That is how I personally feel. And, don't portray that onto something law enforcement's told me or nothing. That is my personal feelings, is why.
Right. Has anything changed with Box Elder Ellie since meeting a couple weeks ago? I think you
Since we met with him on the 29th, we've never heard from him again.
Why is Box Elder not wanting to help of outside agencies or turn the lead over the FBI or other agencies more capable of running investigations? Do you want to just reiterate on that one more time?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, like I said, they've got the SBI, which is the State Bureau of Investigation, and Weber County, and the FBI is still assisting. That all happened. The FBI has been assisting since June. And now they say they bring in these other agencies. We know the state of Idaho reached out multiple times. That's why the state of Idaho processed Dylan's pickup. Everybody knows that was the state of Idaho. We don't know. This is our problem. There's all these questions about Box Elder that I truly wish I could answer, but I can't because we get no communication with them. And as I said, communicating with our FBI agent is awesome. He can't speak for what Box Elder does. He's not in charge of Box Elder. He's, he is trying to help find Dylan. And we got, that's what he's doing. As far as Box Elder, we don't know. The last email I got from Box Elder County was July 20th, except for the communication that I sent to them about the NamUs report. Other than that, nothing since the 20th. And half of their updates was there's a deputy out west and there'll be a sheriff out west tonight. That was literally our updates. That's what we got. That was our updates.
Frustrating.
Yes.
Do you think it's possible Box Elder County LE are corrupt and purposely obstructing justice?
Absolutely not. Nope. I do not. I do not in any way. I think they got in over their head. I think they should ask for assistance way sooner. I wish they would publicly come out and say, hey, Cooley Rounds family, we're sorry. Let's get this rolling. Let's do what we need to do. But I do not believe there is anything corrupt. I just think it all happened so fast and so much was dropped in the beginning. You're just sitting there treading water. You don't even know what to do, us and them included. But they're the only ones that can step out and make it right. It's our son missing, not theirs.
Correct. YouTubers that went out to film on Dylan's farm claim they talked to Justin about what they were doing. Is this true?
So whether or not they talked to Justin, I do not know. And in the time frame when. What I do know, and everybody watched the interview with us and Nate Eaton that you had on yesterday, and Justin's on board. We're going to start passing trespassing. Early on in the beginning, guys, we were begging for help from anyone. Right. So I think what has conspired is these people took what was said in the first week, like, please help us find them, and they keep carrying it over. We had Elko and Box Elder make a public statement saying, please stay off of it.
Yeah.
Please stay off of it. Please, let's preserve. There could be an itty bitty piece of something there we need. Everybody ignored that, but everybody wants to go back early into the first week and be like, no, they asked for help. Yes, we absolutely did, but we didn't send you a letter saying, hey, please go on this property. We didn't. And I'm sorry, people out there filming the property where the shed is and Dylan's farm and just filming that area, they're not helping find Dylan. They're looking for YouTube hits and money. There is no way you're going to go to Dylan's farm and find something that us as a family or law enforcement, because they've been all over it. The FBI, Weber County, I believe Davis County was out there. Box Elder County. I mean, I got to give their search and rescue credit. They were good. I will never take that away from them. We've all been there. So going out there and saying, this is where Dylan's campers were, but they're gone now. We're searching for Dylan. Really? Filming his farm is not searching for Dylan.
Right.
No.
Matter of fact, it's disrespectful.
It is. And it's trespassing. And if you can't respect the fact that maybe guys, maybe there's one piece of cloth, piece of paper, who knows? I don't know. I'm not an investigator. I just know as more fresh eyes get on it, they may find something that somebody else overlooked. And deputy out west, and there'll be a sheriff out. And we got, that's what he's doing. As far as Box Elder, we don't know. The last email I got from Box Elder County was July 20th, except for the communication that I sent to them about the NamUs report. Other than that, nothing since the 20th. And half of their updates was there's a deputy out west and there'll be a sheriff out west tonight. That was literally our updates. That's what we got. That was our updates.
Frustrating.
Yes.
Do you think it's possible Box Elder County LE are corrupt and purposely obstructing justice?
Absolutely not. Nope. I do not. I do not in any way. I think they got in over their head. I think they should ask for assistance way sooner. I wish they would publicly come out and say, hey, Cooley Rounds family, we're sorry. Let's get this rolling. Let's do what we need to do. But I do not believe there is anything corrupt. I just think it all happened so fast and so much was dropped in the beginning. You know, you're just sitting there treading water. You don't even know what to do, us and them included. But they're the only ones that can step out and make it right. It's our son missing, not theirs.
Correct. YouTubers that went out to film on Dylan's farm claim they talked to Justin about what they were doing. Is this true?
So whether or not they talked to Justin, I do not know. And in the time frame when. What I do know, and everybody watched the interview with us and Nate Eaton that you had on yesterday, and Justin's on board. We're going to start passing trespassing. Early on in the beginning, guys, we were begging for help from anyone. Right. So I think what has conspired is these people took what was said in the first week, like, please help us find them, and they keep carrying it over. We had Elko and Box Elder make a public statement saying, please stay off of it.
Yeah.
Please stay off of it. Please, let's preserve. There could be an itty bitty piece of something there we need. Everybody ignored that, but everybody wants to go back early into the first week and be like, no, they asked for help. Yes, we absolutely did, but we didn't send you a letter saying, hey, please go on this property. We didn't. And I'm sorry, people out there filming the property where the shed is and Dylan's farm and just filming that area, they're not helping find Dylan. They're looking for YouTube hits and money. There is no way you're going to go to Dylan's farm and find something that us as a family or law enforcement, because they've been all over it. The FBI, Weber County, I believe Davis County was out there, Box Elder County. I mean, I got to give their search and rescue credit. They were good. I will never take that away from them. We've all been there. So going out there and saying, this is where Dylan's campers were, but they're gone now. We're searching for Dylan. Really? Filming his farm is not searching for Dylan.
Right.
No.
Matter of fact, it's disrespectful.
It is. And it's trespassing. I mean, and if you can't respect the fact that maybe guys, maybe there's one piece of cloth, piece of paper, who knows? I don't know. I'm not an investigator. I just know as more fresh eyes get on it, they may find something that somebody else overlooked. And somebody could do something as simple as step on that piece of paper or cloth or whatever it might be and put it into that loosened sand and it's gone.
Right.
I agree 100%. Regarding the reward fund, who put up the money and is there an expiration on the reward fund? I think you answered that and you said the family did, right?
Yep. And no, there's no expiration. If there was an expiration, we would have pulled it down.
I mean, I guess that question come up because we've seen that in other cases where like the reward fund was only good for like, say, a year or 6 months or something to that effect.
Well, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
Both sides of the family would sell everything any of us had, our houses, our businesses, whatever we have. To us, $100,000 isn't near enough to put Dylan's name in. To us, it's still almost embarrassing, like we only have it at 100. But we truly felt if somebody out there knew something for that amount of money, they would come forward. And I will be honest with you, since Justin wanted to go that high on the reward when we talked, we have not gotten a single solid tip.
Wow. That's so odd. You would think that somebody could really use $100,000. And by the way, if you know something and you know there's multiple people involved, if you tell first, you get the best deal. Remember that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And that's
tell on each other. That's what you need to do.
That's what we were hoping for. And we just, nothing.
Well,
who would know the great, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Nothing that was of any use, I should say.
Right. Who would know the grain truck would have to be back in that barn if Dylan didn't drop it off?
Well, so we knew Dylan, told grandma he was putting it in. So Dylan was protecting his seed.
Yeah. Right.
It's a simple, he is a farmer. You don't let your seed get wet.
How much seed was left in the truck? Do you know when he put it in?
I didn't personally look in it, but I know, I believe it was only like half. And people got to realize this is a 10-wheeler. This is not this, semi that I mean, it's just a little truck. It's nothing massive. I mean, and yes, the truck went through so many times, but it's not what people think it is.
Right.
It's just a little two-wheeler.
Right. Okay. Okay. We have been told that Brenner was not at the shed property Saturday morning when Dylan would have been there. Have you heard this?
No. And how would we know? I don't know. Brenner talked to multiple.
In one of Kurt's interviews, he said it multiple times that Brenner wasn't even there.
I don't know how Kurt would know. Kurt said he was
said a lot.
Yeah, he said he was out side by side riding with his family. So how would he know where Jim is 27 miles away?
Good point.
True.
How do we know? We don't know.
Good point. Touche. Whoever asked that question, I touche'd for you.
Right.
What day was the psychic tip from Kurt? There seems to be some confusion on that.
So that was Tuesday. That was the second day we were out there, the 31st. And when that phone call came in, so it was to me. He kept calling me, and I kept declining it because I was actually on the phone with law enforcement. And then I was reached out by another person saying, "Hey, this is Kurt trying to get a hold of you. He has information about Dylan." It went from Dylan's being held hostage here. We know he's here. Somebody called and told us this. We got somebody watching this particular residence. You guys need to get here. By time we left that evening, after all the Elko deputies came out, it turned into a psychic told them. The reasoning behind that phone call, I've been asked 1,000 times. I don't know, guys. I don't know why anybody would do that. The only thing in my head that I can think of is that was right after Justin put up the first 20,000. Right. So I don't know. Was Kurt thinking, "Hey, I really believe Chase did this, so I'm going to throw his name out there and make up this story and then possibly collect the award"? Mm. That's the only thing in my head that I can wrap around that makes sense.
Right. Reward, probably. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you think this was done to distract people so that the key fob could be returned?
I truly wonder.
That's been one of the things I've wondered about.
That is my response. I truly wonder. That thought has crossed my mind a million times.
Right.
Who would have access and the chance at that time to put the key fob back into Dylan's trailer?
Pretty much just everybody in that immediate area, which includes Don and Jim, and I don't even know the other people's names. But I mean, my opinion, truly, of the 9 people that live out there, there was only 2 of them that were ever on Dylan's farm when we were around. And once again, that's just my opinion. That's how I feel as a mother. Like, who else would have put it back, and why? The only reason I can see I'm putting that back is for the fact that you didn't want to have it on yourself. You didn't want it to be found on your property. Why else would you do that?
You think that person whoever did that drove his truck?
I don't know. I have, where we have, Justin and I know nothing off of the evidence of the pickup. Like, we were told there was nothing, but we don't know if we were told that to just be told that, and there is stuff. So that's where we're at. We don't know if there was anything on the pickup. We don't believe so, but we could be wrong, and they could be holding stuff back. But the whole thing with Dylan's pickup and the seat being forward and the 4-wheel drive being engaged is, it's huge. But then again, I moved the seat back and I took it out of 4-wheel drive. I did take pictures, and I proceeded to drive it so Dylan's friend could drive it home, because we were told by law enforcement, "You folks do what you need to do." Okay. That's what we were told when we asked about taking the pickup home. So somebody had to turn that into 4-wheel drive, right? Shouldn't there be fingerprints?
Right.
You would think.
But it was dismissed. That is our problem, is it was all dismissed in the beginning.
It took the FBI coming in to take the truck and the trailers, right? And eventually one of Brenner's, I think, trailers.
So actually, Box Elder County does have the trailers, Dylan's trailers. I'm not sure which lab Brenner's is at, but yeah, on the 16th of June, when they served the search warrant on Brenner's property, they did take Dylan's campers and had to ask Justin and I's permission. But once again, you know, you're what, 2.5 weeks into it. People have been all over there. We're glad they took them. We're glad that step was made. But the FBI was there when that happened and that search warrant was served. But Brenner still stayed there. It was. Why do you think they didn't just destroy or dispose of the key instead of returning it? I don't. No, I don't. Why do you bring this back? I mean, and like I said, you know, people say, are you sure you didn't miss it? Trust us. We did not miss it. And we actually tested with the key fob that Karen and Larry brought back, the grandparents, for us to, you know, they brought an extra one so we could get the pickup started. I set it in the camper right where the key fob mysteriously appeared, and Dylan's pickup would start off of it. It was close enough. So that was the gun also returned at the same time? No. The only gun that's been found has been the shotgun. There has been some speculation about the gun. It is the shotgun. It was found at the great grandma and grandpa's where Dylan was staying. So we still have no Dylan's gun. No. So no.
But there was a pistol that he kept in his truck, right?
Yeah, he always had the ammo was there.
Okay. So the 40 caliber's gone.
Yeah, the ammo was still in the pickup, but the gun is gone.
Okay, I mean, because there was people saying, "Oh, it was put back and it was in the bathroom and it was under newspapers. It was in his clothes."
I know. I've heard it all. I know, but yeah, it was.
So the pistol's missing, and we know that Chase likes to steal guns. Doesn't mean he did anything to Dylan, but there's a good chance that he buried it and stole that gun.
Right.
Could have.
Yeah. Yep. Also, let me see. I didn't even know that was the next question. Also, the gun. It has been said that Dylan is kept in his truck. Is that true? Yes. Okay. Also been said. Okay. Kurt has said that Dylan stayed up all Friday night planting his crop before the rains came in Saturday morning. Is there any indication that this is true? What would be something that he would do typically?
So yes, that is completely typical. But we do know from eyewitnesses that have come forward and helped us putting together the timeline of the rain and everything that happened that were out there camping. They seen Dylan's tractor lights still going between 11:30 and 11:45 at night. So he was absolutely out there planting. And they thought, this kid's great. Who's out here planting? Like, they couldn't believe it.
Right.
But yes,
and I actually have a picture of the same tractor that Dylan had, and how it lights up, man, it could light up a whole farm almost.
Yes.
Powerful.
Yep. Yes.
Kurt has said that Dylan's power washed his own truck because Kurt complained to Dylan about the bed of the truck being greasy. He also stated that Dylan stopped by his house Friday morning to show him the clean truck while on his way to deliver a part to another farm. Does this sound like something Dylan would do?
No.
Yeah.
It's like the picture we put on Facebook that he sent to my husband that says, "Look, the first time I've washed my Dodge in a year, and it was October."
So the second part of this is, would he take the time away from tending to his own farm just to wash his truck because Kurt was complaining?
No. And here's my thing. I just, we go back and forth because at first Kurt said Dylan was there on Friday and then he wasn't, and then he was there and then he wasn't, and now it's been back to he wasn't. So what is it? Right. Was he there or not? I mean, he's changed his story so many times, and he said, I don't take anything that man says with a grain of salt because it has changed so much. And we know our son, and I will tell you that back of that pickup was still full of hydraulic oil when we got there. Wow. You don't just pressure wash out oil and hydraulic oil. You got to have hot soapy water. You don't, you can get a little bit of the film off, but
right. I guess you're right.
It doesn't, you don't just pressure wash that off.
Wow. Well, then that says a lot too, because first of all, why would Dylan just be like, okay, I did it? First of all, secondly, why would he even do it? He's got stuff to do. Dylan had things to do.
He's going to care if Kurt says his pickup's dirty or not.
I mean, Kurt was like, I told him I wasn't coming back out to help him unless he washed it because I was tired of getting grease on me. And I'm like, dude, you're farming.
Hydraulic grease.
Dude, you're farming. You're going to get
Why
dirty.
are you in the back of Dylan's pickup anyways?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
What do you need in the back of Dylan's pickup if you're out there with your backhoe helping him? What do you need?
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, that didn't make any sense to me that
Yeah.
Dylan would drop everything he's doing to wash it just because
No.
Kurt said so.
Nope.
So how do you feel about Kurt?
I have truly wiped him off of my slate right now. And I know he's been everywhere doing interviews. I know Justin had a lot of conversations with him when all this first happened. After that first rabbit hole he sent us on saying where Dylan was, I truly just wiped him off my slate. I mean, law enforcement has interviewed him personally. That's the one and only person they interviewed in the first week. I can't focus on his craziness and his changing stories because it doesn't help bring Dylan home, because he can't say, and like I said, I don't watch him, but I hear him, people tell me he can't say the same thing twice.
Right.
So, I know we have somebody in jail and a suspect in jail, and I know it isn't him. So I can't sit and stress over all of his crazy stories because it will truly make me crazy. Like, we have to pick and choose. We have to try to keep ourselves level enough. And if we listen to all this white noise and all of these circus acts, it can truly make a person start questioning and second guessing and making you feel crazy. And the second we let that happen is the second we lose our focus, the second we lose our facts and stop focusing on the importance of bringing Dylan home. Let's find Dylan.
Agreed.
So that's where I went with that. I've just had to put it completely off my plate.
Okay, good. Do you know why the FBI was brought in, and are they still actively working the case?
Yes, so we have an agent absolutely working the case. He's amazing. They actually learned from Dylan's case from Davis County. They were brought in to analyze somebody else's.
They've done a lot of work behind the scenes that really nobody seems to have put out there. I really like the way Candace, she's being comfortable. Just kind of curious, everything okay there, girls? Let me know. So, yeah, I think Candace Cooley is doing a really good job, and a lot of things are coming out that I definitely didn't know about. So, yeah, I'm liking her a lot more than I did before. I mean, they're looking for their son. It's horrible.
Phone, and that's how they heard about Dylan's case. So as far as what I have been told, what I know by unnamed sources that I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, Bob Selder has never reached out to anybody until we began screaming and publicly called them out to relinquish the case. They have not actually reached out. All these other agencies have been coming at them saying, "Can we help you?"
And they're just
Yes. Just so much help has been offered. So much. They did. Weber County Search and Rescue that first Friday. Weber County came out with an amazing job. They brought the chopper. We've never had any of that from Bob Selder County. I was told that Bob Selder County had no capability. Drone pilots. No drones. They had no technology. I later found out from another source that's been helping me and got the phone number for their I can't remember his exact title, but emergency something. Yes, they have a high dollar drone, and yes, a gentleman helped. But I was told by the detectives we don't have that. We don't have access to any of that, and they did. And the guy did come out, and he was amazing, and he helped EquiSearch. But that was just another lie. We don't have this, and they had it. Why?
wow.
Why have they fought us on finding Dylan? Why? I don't get it.
Why have it and have nobody trained to use the right?
Right.
No, the guy knew how to use it. There's videos of him you can find on YouTube. Like I said, it's their emergency somebody of him flying the drone. It's an amazing drone. Why was that not brought out? Why did they hide that from us? Why did they tell us we didn't have that? And they did.
Right. I agree.
That
That's
makes
horrible.
no sense why they would not want to put every available resource on this. I
Well,
mean,
it seems like it's not the first thing that they haven't done, right? They haven't done anything right
Right.
yet. So
it's just another in a
including
long
would take the
list
truck.
of mistakes,
Do
right?
what you need to do. Like that was the first thing. First things first, they should have locked down those trailers and locked down that truck and took fingerprints and did everything like that.
Doug is 100% correct in my mind here. I mean, they all the way through, they've done a shitty job. So I don't know how to correct the mistakes, or if they can correct the mistakes that the law has made. They've been, all these cases, it kind of blows me away. Like, what's going on with the law? I don't know. Like I said, are they just lazy, or I don't know. Look at the stuff they miss here. Look at the stuff with Kylie. Like, what the hell?
Well, and I will tell you from the second the boots were found, that was the kicker. And nobody wanted to listen. And when they took Justin and I out to that pile and we looked at each other, it was, at that moment, your whole life changed. Our lives changed, and we knew it. We knew it because we know our son that well. All this crap of Candace and Justin fought over everything and the state took custody of their kids, or Candace lost custody. No, our kids have been back and forth between the two of us since we have been divorced. We both love our kids above everything. Dylan and I had the regular teenage mom and son arguments. Dylan and my oldest daughter, and even Colt now that everybody's gotten older, those three are truly my best friends. Besides my husband, I cannot tell you, Dylan would show up here and it was great because it would be this argument. There was always an argument, not a bad argument. Like Dylan always had a better idea to do what we were doing and how to improve it. And I'd always say, and I know he did it with his dad. No, son, just wait. You got some more growing up to do. It was always that way. Our kids are our everything. And for Dylan to be treated with such disregard is absolutely disgusting to us. We will stop at nothing to bring our son home.
Agreed. I see that too. There's a lot people don't know that goes on behind the scenes, how much it actually cost you guys to actually do what you do. And we'll get into that too in a little bit. Not mentioning specifics because I don't want to damage any investigation. Do you know if any physical evidence has been found other than the key fob being turned?
So yes, there is still stuff that has been found that we can't release. Once again, that's why our focus is not on all this other stuff and looking straight at Brenner. So yes, there has been. No, we can't release it. And I promise to the public, as soon as we can, all you people rallying behind us to bring Dylan home, when we can release something, trust me, we will be out there in full force saying, hey, this is where we're at. Because without everybody's help, without our Facebook group, without all of, mainstream media, everybody on YouTube who has stood behind us and helped us, that is what has got us the SBI's help and Weber County. That never would have been done without all the public's help. We are only so many people as an immediate family. Right. Everybody else who called in, everybody else who mailed in those mailers, everybody who sent the emails, everybody who blew up their Facebook, we thank you, because we never would have got, it's a small win, but it's a win. They didn't relinquish lead, but we still got more help. So we have to take our wins as we can get them.
Right.
Definitely.
I agree. Do you know Ty Corbin or Lance?
So,
Todd Glenn is his name. Todd Glenn Corbin.
Okay, so I know him as Ty. I believe he's the long-haired one. He came over and talked to my husband and I one time when we were out there when Elko was searching. Other than that, I've had absolutely no contact with him, and I have no clue who the other guy is.
Got it. So the next question is, have they been in contact with Justin?
I know in the beginning, I know Ty was, I know Ty, he had some good information about the railroad that he shared. But other than that, recently, not as far as I'm aware. I don't, of course, question Justin, but you just take what you want from our last interview where he's on board of, putting
Right.
trespassing charges on. So that speaks for itself.
Right. Right. Did Justin ask them to keep searching?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I mean, of course, it's such a double-edged sword.
Right.
We want, if we could be out there and we thought it was going to help instead of destroy something, people got to realize we would be out there in full force. Even if it means it's just immediate family, even if it means thousands of people from the public, even if it's only us 6, but we're trying to preserve evidence. So a lot of things have been taken out of context. Like I said, in the beginning, there was a letter that was for law enforcement about being on the property. Well, that was meant for law enforcement and it was leaked. And that's what these guys have used as, look, it says in this letter, anybody searching for Dylan to have permission to be on the property. So they're using this letter from the first week because we had to get that letter to allow law enforcement to go on to make them comfortable. But everybody else is using it as their own benefit, and that's not what it was for. And absolutely nobody has any rights to be on Dylan's property. Nobody has given them permission. And when you boil down to it, the only 2 people that can give permission is Dylan and his grandfather. They're the 2 that own it.
Right.
And that has not happened. So they are lying when they say they have permission.
Right.
Speaking of owning Dylan's farm property, is there any truth to the rumors that his farm property has now been put up for sale again?
No, it is absolutely not up for sale.
Okay, because I didn't find any record on that, but there's a lot of people saying it.
No, it's not for sale.
Okay.
There's a lot of property out there for sale that's been for sale for 20 years.
Right.
It's not Dylan.
Right.
Right. I didn't find any record of that, but there's a lot of people that were putting that information out there.
No,
Okay.
no, it's not for sale.
Have them retract letter and post a no trespassing in order of LE maybe.
Yeah, and my frustration is why wasn't it ever taped off as a crime scene?
Right.
now.
That was my big question.
Why wasn't that done? The place where the grain truck was and Dylan's property itself, why was it never taped off? Why was, when they called it criminal, why did they never say, okay, after we searched it the first time on the 16th, we're going to take this off. We're going to call it a crime scene. That's never been done.
The next question, I think they meant LE, but it says, has BE given you any indication that they might know what happened to Dylan? I think they meant law enforcement.
Maybe
Yeah,
Box Elder or
Yeah, as far as Box Elder, no. Like I said, we're not in contact with them.
right.
And haven't been. I mean, but besides that meeting we had on the 29th, the last time I spoke to anybody on it, well, we were face to face because we were all out there, but phone call or anything was June 16th when we were in the desert. So you guys got to realize from June 16th until August 29th was the first we had heard a Box Elder County representative, sheriff, deputy, detective's voice.
Wow.
It's a shame. Do you know Ed Harshberger?
Yeah. Yep.
It has been said that he did not like Dylan. Do you know that to be true?
That's not true. That is not true. Dylan and Ed, and I'll clear it up because I read that one. Dylan never worked for Ed. And Ed never worked for Dylan. They had business dealings that they helped each other with. When Ed took off out of here, I want to say 2 years ago, things weren't working out. They were going in different directions and Ed left. And Ed did reach out to me and Ed was nowhere in the vicinity of when Dylan went missing. Ed was down doing his own thing where he's at now. And we knew that there was nothing. And if you guys think about it, so that name didn't get thrown out there, I think until probably 6 or 7 weeks into this. And then somebody finally put Ed and Dylan together and then they're like, oh, Ed.
Right.
What about Ed? No, Ed was nowhere in the vicinity. Ed was nowhere around. Ed's never been on our radar.
How about Ron Tello? Do you know Ron Cully?
So the only thing I know of him is he owns a house in town.
Did own a house in town. He
Okay.
quick claim deeded it to Troy Wadsworth.
Right, and they're the only ones that could go in and clean it. And yep, I got all that. He did hit me up on Facebook. Told me all about it. The detectives did check it out.
Oh, cool.
And that was that.
Wait, the detectives did check it out. So why was it a big deal? Why was this one person pushing that? Oh, it needs to be checked. It's been checked.
Yeah, it's been checked, and he's still been pushing, and I love the monitors on Dylan's Facebook, because I'll see, it's like he'll still come at it. This is where Dylan's at. No, Dylan's not in that house. It has been addressed. It is another check mark that we can say, no, this is not. But once again, that was 5 or 6 weeks after Dylan went missing. Why do you wait 5 or 6 weeks to say, oh, I own this house and you really need to check it out? I believe your son's there. That makes no sense to me.
Right.
No.
Have landowners on property surrounding Dylan's farm allowed their land to be searched?
Yeah, as far as I believe, they've been. When we first got out there, we actually had the 2 gentlemen that were directly behind where we were camping. They offered us their freezer space that they went off of their generators if we needed to put bottled water on it. They welcomed the search and rescue, the search parties everywhere. So we've been all over that. There was no fight. No, we never even asked them. They drove to where we were stationed, where we set up base camp, and they offered it, like, whatever you guys need, So yeah, there was never any push backwards on that. They were fine.
Okay. Shots fired outside the saddle store on Thursday night before Dylan went missing. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, but I wasn't there Thursday night, and that was before Dylan went missing. So I've heard it was Wednesday. I've heard it was Tuesday. I've heard it was Thursday. I guess if somebody really wanted to,
they could shoot all 3 nights in a row if they wanted to, and we wouldn't even know.
Exactly.
I was going to say it was Thursday because I have pulled the call logs for the police department on that one.
Yeah, it was Thursday, but
yeah. Once again, Dylan was spoken to on Saturday. So what is the relevance?
Right. Okay.
Dylan was happy, alive, and healthy Saturday morning. So people shoot off guns in Montello all the time. Like, that is not out of the norm. Right. It just happened to be the one night that, 2 days later, a 19-year-old goes missing. There's no coincidence, it's just a coincidence. There's no meaning to it. That kind of stuff happens out there all the time.
Right.
Do you think Kurt Wadsworth would have known Dylan's age?
I'm sure. I mean, Dylan's been out there for 3 years. I mean, and let me clarify that. Dylan is out there when he needs to farm out there. Dylan is not out there full time. Dylan has his triangle between my place, his father's place, Lucin, wherever else he is working. So yeah, it's very possible. Everybody pretty much knew Dylan's age. That's why everybody was so impressed with him and his work ethic and who he is. Like, how can a kid at this age be this way?
Right.
Black Dove says, I forgot to email the question, and I'll read this real quick because I know that we're about to get into his questions in a second. I forgot to email the question about the guy in the dark blue truck who seemed to be scoping out the area 1 p.m., possibly 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, the day Dylan went missing, posted by D. Halterman, Montello Group. Have you seen that at all?
Nope. And I have not heard anything of that until today.
Yeah, I haven't either.
And then one more before we get back to the question. It has been mentioned that Dylan knew Don and or Brenner prior. How is that they all came in to be the same area?
So Don and Brenner were out there prior. Dylan came into the area when he heard about the farm, and my husband actually took him out there 3 years ago for the first time, and they checked it out. I mean, it's been over 3 years now. So they were already there. Dylan came to the area because he heard of the farm. Don and Brenner were already there. How they became to be there, I don't know. I mean,
they've been there. Brenner was staying at the grain shed when he got the farm.
Yeah, but Dylan didn't own that property.
Right.
And Brenner was already there. Dylan was that was his plan, as he was working on developing up to that property. And when I say developing, farmland, and it's all been farmed before. That's another thing we need to clarify is people think, we hear all the time, hey, you threw your son in the desert because of this, that, or the other. No, people. We hoped, and his grandma and grandma hoped, and did Justin and I like the fact of where he chose to farm? Absolutely not. My biggest fear was a farm accident. What if something happens and he's out there by himself? I never thought anything like this, but the fact of the matter is the kid was never going to work for anybody. Dylan is going to make his own way and his own farm, and that's where he could afford ground. And that place has been farmed multiple times over the last 60 years. It's not the first time. Why do you think the well was already there? Right. The water rights were already there. It was all there. It was set up and nobody was going to move in on them because nobody wants to live there.
So it's a smart business deal.
Correct. He could afford the ground. He could afford his startup.
Right. That's
why he was doing all the custom work for the ranches and the farms around. He would take the money he made off of that and he would sink it into his farm.
When was the property actually purchased, and did he plan on purchasing more?
He did plan on purchasing more. I would have to look back on the note to see when it was exactly purchased. I mean, he's been working on it since last summer. So
did somebody else want that property besides Dylan? Do you know if there's any competition?
No.
Well, I mean, that was one of the things that was being thrown out there, was that Dylan was planning on eventually buying that shed property and maybe kicking Brenner out of there and telling him that he had to go.
He was absolutely planning on buying it, but you're talking years down the road, and his concern was whether or not Brenner squatted on it.
Right.
Even it was so far in the future on what his plans were. The least of his worries was, I'll deal with that, whether I want him there or not. And truly, I believe Dylan would have been fine with it because Brenner did help him.
Right. I mean, so they got along pretty well then. I mean, there was no like fight.
They stayed together in a motel for a while too, right?
Well, so they're kind of so it's just like, you know, they stayed in our backyard for a while. They're work chasers. They chase what, you know, you think about all these custom combining crews that move from Kansas clear up to Washington. And you see all these trucks that drive by and they got all these massive combines and the headers, and it's this convoy of farm equipment. That was Dylan and his crew, only they were chasing hay. They were baling hay, they had the equipment, and so yes, they were chasing the work. That's what custom farmers do. And that's what Dylan was doing to get the money saved to do what he wanted to do on his farm.
Makes sense. What about Dylan walking back from the grain shed? Did he tell his grandmother he was going to walk 5 miles back home?
No. So that was mispublished once again by Boxelder. They put that on NamUs. That was absolutely not true. He told his grandmother he had to get the grain shed or the grain truck in the shed. When we first got out there, we thought, okay, maybe Jim wasn't home, he didn't have a ride, so we took off walking. So that's what we had ourselves convinced, like Dylan's in between these 5 miles. That was before we found the boots. That was before we found his boots. That's what we were hoping. He's out there with a broken ankle or a snake bit him. You know, we're going to find him. We're going to take him to the hospital. It might be a couple days recovery or maybe a month, but everything's going to be okay. And then we found the boots and we knew nothing's ever going to be okay again.
Did you think it was weird that like if Brenner would have done it, that he would have put the boots somewhere else or at least buried them or something?
I truly don't know. I can't wrap that.
I can't wrap that around my head either.
No. But you also can't wrap around through your head where they are out behind this dirt mound. And yes, it did used to be an old garbage pile. When Dylan was first there, it was kind of their dump, but it hasn't been used for probably 2 years. I mean, like who would put them that just right there? I mean, they weren't even hid. It's so strange. It's so eerie. It's nothing we can wrap our head around except for the fact of where they were at. And it's all right there. It's all right on that one little piece of property. It's all right there within that 5 miles, everything that's been found. So that tells us it all happened right here. But what happened? What happened and what did you do with him and where is he at?
Right. I mean, that's the questions we all want answers to.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Kurt's trailer being bleached? According to Kurt's daughter, she bleached it when the family was staying in it that weekend.
I was never in the trailer, so I don't know. I know Dylan did stay in the trailer. I know he would frequently stay there instead of wanting to drive her back out to Lucin. Maybe she did bleach it because her family was there. Their family was there, because I know their family was there. I don't know. Law enforcement was inside of that motorhome, and
Right.
they made their decision. I was never in it. I wasn't there the day they went in it. They did tell us, you know, it was freshly cleaned.
When I did see pictures of the inside of Dylan's trailer, and I don't know if that's before or after it was looked through, did it look ransacked or anything when you went in there? Like people were looking for money, looking through anything?
Well, so let me tell you a little bit about Dylan, and why his trailer was the way it was. So what that gentleman from Rigby failed to do was turn around and take other pictures, which he had no right to do that, and he should be completely ashamed of himself, 100% ashamed of himself. Dylan only stayed out there when he was planting, watering, or harvesting. It's nothing for Dylan to grab a package of hot dogs from the store, grab 2 or 3 of them out of it, start jumping in his truck, throw them on the kitchen table, throw them on the table. He'd do that at my house. I know he'd do that.
Hey, Crime and Justice. Good to see you. I wanted to just stop and say, wow, you guys did a phenomenal job on this. The questions that were asked were perfect. Like you guys did an amazing job. I wanted to say congratulations. I find that you two, I learn a lot from your channel. So to be able to show this and it's accurate information, yeah, I truly appreciate it. And it gets the word out. This case was slowing down. So anyways, thanks to you both. And I'm going to say congratulations to you both because you did a phenomenal job.
At his dad's house, grab something out of the fridge, eat part of it, and leave the rest on the table. It's people who know farmers and know the true passion, especially the old soul ones like Dylan is, don't realize none of that matters. When you are farming, you are farming. You don't care. You can go 3 weeks without doing any laundry, go through a couple changes of clothes. You might go 4 or 5 days without showering. You're working 19, 20 hours a day. The last thing you're worried about is picking the hot dog package up with the extra 3 in it off the table.
Right.
Especially when you don't live there full time. It was never a concern. I would always harp on him when he lived at me. And I know Justin did when he lived at his house. Like, it was a pigsty. Well, I'm just too busy, Mom. I'm too busy. I'm not worried about cleaning. I'm busy. Okay, well, I'll do it. So yeah, that was something that was used. I don't even know what people are trying to use it as. Like the kid was a slob. Yep. He's 19, he was a pig, but he was a pig because he was too busy working and making a life for himself. What is the relevance of that? That has nothing.
I don't think he was really a pig. I think he was just as messy as some people are, even as adults nowadays.
Exactly. And what is that? Does that, I mean, it irritates me because I feel like people tried to use that like, oh, look, he lived in a pigsty. He deserves to go missing. That's how I've honestly felt. I've honestly felt it's been an attack on him. And I'm like, it doesn't matter, people. What does that matter?
Plus, that prevents people from wanting to stay over, which is my goal. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you don't want to stay here, believe me.
Right.
There was actually a super sticker I wanted to mention. It was a very nice thing. Candace, thank you for sending seeds for Dylan's birthday. I planted mine and they're flourishing. Best regards and prayers to you.
That is great. We appreciate
that. Means a lot. Thank you, Christy.
They're amazing.
What is the family connection to Brenner? How long had Dylan known him? Had they had any issues in the past or arguments or anything? Is there anything that you want to add to what we've already talked about?
No, not that I'm aware of. And like I said, as a mom, I never really got an eerie feeling. I never got nothing. You know, first time I met him was 3 years ago. Dylan was about the same time. There's really no family connection. It's just a bunch of people who ended up in the same location that all got to know each other. I mean, there's no hidden history that we've not wanted people to know. There's nothing like that. Just, you know, they helped Dylan. And so many people see it as an awkward situation of, well, you got these two older gentlemen helping this young man. that's what greatness is made of. That is truly what greatness is made of. If you can be that young man who can have those older gentlemen, or vice versa, if you're a woman, and people work for you and respect you, that is what greatness is made of. There's nothing wrong with that.
And you know, also, it's like learning from a book, or do you learn from somebody who has experience? I'd rather learn from experience. And whether they're my employee or not, there's still a respect thing. Like, oh, you're right. That could make it easier for both of us. And you're right. You know, there's a communication. Not everything has to go unnoticed. So if a younger guy is saying, hey, I need you to go do this, I'm sure when the guy comes over and says, hey, you know, this might be easier to help us both. Like, you know, a good business owner or somebody that wants to make it easier, I'm sure he listened both ways. I don't think there was animosity between them like that.
No, there wasn't. And you know, well, and this is one question that didn't come up that I wanted to address, that's come up a lot in the past. You know, yes, him and Don parted ways. Him and Don, it wasn't knocked down, drag out. It was, you know, he didn't agree.
Handshake, right? It was a handshake.
Like this isn't like, I'm done. I can see it in my head, so take it for a grain of salt, but I can see it. Dylan telling Don, no, I'm going to do it this way. Don saying, no, this is a better way. There's an argument, and it's like, I'm done working with you. My honest feeling is that relationship probably would have working relationship would have patched itself up throughout the summer. But the opportunity was never there because Dylan went missing.
Right. Well, you never know. That could have patched up real easy. When Dylan called Grandma Saturday morning, did he sound normal? Like, did he seem to be under distress, anxious, or talking differently?
Absolutely normal. Panicked because it was raining and he had to protect his seed.
Right. Was it normal for Dylan to call his grandma that early in the morning just to tell her he couldn't talk?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's that you're still young, you're still learning, you're still, you know, it's almost like you want somebody to know, oh crap, my seed might have got a little bit of rain on it, but I'm going to hurry and get it in the shed type of conversation. Like, I'm getting this done, you know, because him and Grandpa were partners. So, you know, there's nothing out of the ordinary of that phone call whatsoever. Sometimes Dylan would call me to just be like, oh, hey, guess what, Mom? I got a flat tire. Oh, I got to call you back. I'll talk to you later. Click. I'm like, okay. Let me know if you need help. Even though you're on the other line still. I mean, there was nothing out of the ordinary about that.
Right. Would it be out of character for Dylan not to call someone back when he said he would?
No. Get busy and forget.
Right. I mean, that's typical. I mean, it happens to all of us at some point.
Yes.
Okay. When did Grandma call Don to go search for Dylan? How did that go?
Sunday.
So Sunday. Okay.
Yep. So Sunday.
So not Monday.
So the people that are putting out there that Don and Jim were searching for Dylan on Saturday, that's not true.
No.
Okay.
No, to my word, it was Sunday and Monday that they were out there.
Okay.
There's no way to verify that.
Yeah.
That we were told that was done. So, I mean, you know, it's such a hard situation because, you know, people come at us with all this information and they want us to say, is this true or is this not? Well, we weren't there.
Right.
We cannot 100% say yes or no. I mean, we'd be lying to you if we said we could. This is what we were told, and that's all we have to go off of because we weren't physically standing there.
Right. I mean, it's, you know, just to the best of your knowledge that, you know.
That's what we were told.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Why do you think the national news has not picked up Dylan's case? We've only seen a couple more local channels coverage for Dylan.
So when law enforcement doesn't step out and do press conferences and say, stand up and pay attention, folks, we need help finding this kid. When your local law enforcement agency doesn't even do that, trying to figure out exactly how to make this happen because we haven't had any help. So what national news is going to want to cover a kid that went missing that you can't even say this is what local law enforcement's been doing because they've never stepped out and said it.
Right.
That's why it's so important that we actually keep this on YouTube and in social media, but also keep the facts out. Now that we're getting all these questions answered that people were running around speculating on, for months and months and months, and days and days and days and nights and nights and nights. We finally do a point where we can use this stuff against what you guys know and start putting it together. And then, now we can keep this case going. Bring out the facts that she's bringing out, make a video about it, share this video, however you guys need. Please get these out. About Brenner's silver pistol, do you know if it's been found?
So the only guns that I know that have been found is what was released in the arrest warrant, and that is on Dylan's Facebook page. And so the Find Dylan Rounds is the only official page, but those warrants are on there, and those are the only guns that were found. I mean, they're the only ones in the warrant, and they're all, I guess it's not the warrant, in the whatever they do afterwards, in the charges, and they're all lined out with serial numbers and everything. But people need to understand, as a felon, this is the strangest thing to me, I never knew this, you are allowed to have all the black powdered weapons you want.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That is not against, so that goes back to Box Elder County charges. The only thing Brenner's charged with right now in the federal court is the 22.
Yeah.
But in that paper, it does show everything. And if you go on Dylan's Facebook and you click on the top, it's got all the documents that Jazz has helped me post and kept track of. And it says everything that they found that they arrested him for.
Right.
Other than, I mean,
they dropped 2 out of the 3 charges. They took 2 out of the they dropped 2 out of the 3 charges.
I don't know what they're doing right now. They've got a lot of works on the works on the federal case. There's a lot more going on that's been on the federal gun charges that's been fully released.
Okay.
Right.
So
any truth to, well, I guess this one you already answered. Any truth to Dylan wanting to buy the grain shed property? Yes, he wanted to expand eventually, a couple of years, and kick Brenner off it, working towards the whole valley out there farming. So yeah, he wanted to expand, but that him buying that property, it was a few years out, like you said. So Brenner could have squatted there for however long he wanted to until then.
Right. I mean, Brenner would have had plenty of time to find someplace else, or who knows, Dylan may have let him stay there to help him out. I mean,
no offense, Brenner's probably gonna have a heart attack within the next 14 days or so. Like, who knows? He doesn't seem like he's very healthy. If that was the case, then could his disappearance be related to someone being upset that he was trying to take control over so much land, a land war type of situation, or water right issues with other landowners near him?
So the water rights that Dylan had was a deep well. That affects absolutely no one. It's not like, our canal water where you can sell off rights and make the farmer mad next to it. It was all deep well. It was specific to that exact farm. And honestly, guys, no one was out there that wanted. I mean, they were fine.
When it comes to that black powder and all that stuff, I haven't really seen it since I was a kid. Like I say, Canada is pretty tight with its gun laws. The only time you really see them is with hunters. So I'm still, even after I've been doing this for a while, I still get a little bit shocked at how accessible it is for everyone. And I mean, every criminal seems to have 10.
Fine with Dylan farming. I mean, you gotta realize, between Kurt and Don and Brenner and some of the other people out there, Dylan contributed a lot. He contributed to these people having a part-time job and making money. He was, it was nothing but a positive. Now, if you're going to take somebody out there who says they're going to develop their land and start trying to build houses, I believe those people would have some major problems. But Dylan farming out there was never an issue. Nobody had any hard feelings about that. Nobody else wanted the land. Was
anybody else farming the same kind of crop he was anyway? No, right?
Oh, all over the country, but that's of no.
But not out there.
No,
right there.
He was the closest. His closest farm ground was towards Montello and Park Valley. I mean, he was the only one out there farming.
Right. I mean, him being out there farming was only helping the area.
Well,
bringing money into that area, right?
So his deep water well was fresh water. So he actually put, a pipe on it where a lot of those guys would come to Dylan's Pivot come to his pump and they'd get their water out of it. And he allowed it, like, hey, here's fresh water. You don't have to go to the spring and mess with that. You can come turn this valve and fill up your water tanks. Come get it. It's right here. He was doing that for people. There was nothing out there that he was doing that the people out there didn't like. He was doing nothing. He was a very, very kind-hearted child. He is very, you know, he's 19 and he can be a 19-year-old, but he was also a very, very old-soul kid that just wants to help everybody. And, you know, he liked that community because there wasn't a lot of money. It wasn't a competition. Whose tractor's bigger than whose, you know, who's better than whose. He was just out there doing his thing.
Right. I'm not sure what this means. I don't mind. I hope you don't mind if I read this real quick so it doesn't disappear. What does she think about Scott Wadsworth taking the shoes from the girls he kept hostage? Do you know anything about Scott Wadsworth?
So we're going to completely dismiss that because that was the whole thing that was brought up by a bunch of garbage, and there's never even been a police report. So, I mean, and rehashing what happened 10 years ago does nothing to help find Dylan.
Right. Any footprints around the area where Dylan's boots were found?
No. Not, but once again, not that we've seen, because we were all, you know, even when search and rescue found the boots, you know, they walked around the whole thing. The one search and rescue gentleman did go out and walk everywhere and didn't find anything. But that soil out there and that land is so unforgiving. Your footprint was there 10 minutes ago and the perfect gust of wind came up and it's gone. Wow. Like, it is just a very unforgiving soil. I guess I should say forgiving soil would be the correct word. Excuse me. That it can be there and 10 minutes later it can be gone with the right gust of wind. There's sand. It's just, you know, I mean, it's a desert.
Wow. The pictures we saw of the inside Dylan's trailer was okay. We read that. We already went over that. The search of Brenner's property with the burnt down camper. Do you know if anything was found where the shovels were sticking out of the ground? Do you feel they were placed there for a reason?
I absolutely feel the shovels were staged. 100%. Oh. Let me tell you just a little bit on that. Box Elder had actually already sent a search warrant to have that property searched to Elko way before that happened. Elko declined it because there was no probable cause. And they didn't want to go on that property without probable cause. And that's kind of when all this came about, and everything kind of fell into place perfectly, because I was told the search warrant was signed before the shovels were found. And it just turned into this big explosion of, I don't even know, because I didn't watch half of it. All I know is I was told that Friday at 7:22, the search warrant was signed. I was told that Thursday they were getting ready to have it signed. They wouldn't execute Box Elders. Everybody acted like Justin and I ignored this property. We absolutely did not. We were screaming about it clear back in June.
Wow.
It just took that much time to get it done. And I applaud people for having it done right. Whether it was a shovel that, I don't care what sparked it. What I can say is that is crossed off our list, and that is another thing we don't have to focus on.
Right. There's a reason why they didn't want to call the cops or call the FBI or anything, and I had to instigate the phone call for that whole situation.
Exactly.
Now we know why the shovels.
Yeah. Well,
sorry, go ahead.
As I say, all this stuff that's supposedly fresh, that's just being found, you know, that has been in the last month.
Right.
When all these people found this fresh stuff, obviously they're getting people to believe it who haven't been in the desert, because if it's fresh, you've got like 2 days of it being fresh before it no longer looks fresh, period. Like it doesn't sit there for 2 months,
right,
and be fresh. It just doesn't, the soil doesn't allow it out there.
Right. I mean, well, like people digging stuff up out of holes that were made by law enforcement and claiming that it's new evidence.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Do you believe Box Elder or Elko County is corrupt in assisting a cover-up or dragging their feet intentionally in order to assist whoever harmed Dylan?
No, I absolutely do not. Elko has been nothing but cooperative. Once I went and met with him, that was a whole misunderstanding that we got cleared up. I will state it again. I believe Box Elder got so far over their heads in not doing anything in the beginning. They're hiding from the public on it because they don't want they don't want this huge civil suit. And I will tell you people over and over and over, we are not looking for money. Most parents would have already sued Box Elder County. The amount of attorneys who have reached out and been like, what are you people doing? We need to sue them. No, we need to bring Dylan home. They just were negligent. I'm going to go ahead and use the word ignorant. They were ignorant to us. They lied. I will never, ever have any faith in them. They will never redeem themselves with me. I will not speak for the whole family, but I will speak for myself. There's absolutely no chance they will ever redeem themselves. I will deal with those emotions later on the back burner. The only reason I've kept that out in the public's eye is to try to get Dylan's case turned over, to do nothing more but find Dylan and bring him home.
Right.
I'm so sorry you got so much flack in the beginning because you're such a strong woman, and I'm glad that you've given well, not only us a chance to be a voice with you, but to give social media a second try and a second go at YouTube. Appreciate that. Do you ever think, do you think whoever did this is wealthy, influential, and powerful, like a wealthy rancher, or doesn't Dylan want to develop a land, given that Dylan has not been found in over 3 months?
No, I do not think it is anything powerful or influential. I do not believe the government did this because he was growing crops where other people didn't. I don't believe it has anything to do with the bombing range. I truly believe whatever happened that morning happened right where it was at, right where that grain truck was. There was only one other person there, and my personal beliefs, and these are mine. So once again, don't twist this into law enforcement said or Justin's words or anybody else's. This is my opinion. I believe it was a snap moment. I believe you look back on all Brenner's history that has now been publicized. I believe it was a snap moment. I don't believe there's anything premeditated. There was no plan. Dylan's money, his wallet, his credit cards, we've never recovered any of that. None of them were ever used. Nobody had access. I mean, I guess if they had his wallet, they had access to his bank cards. Nothing's ever been moved. No money, nothing, no activity, nothing.
So when he snapped, how do you think that would have happened? Do you think Dylan would have hit the gate with his truck? Do you think it was a phone call? Do you think he woke him up?
There's no way Dylan would have hit the gate with his truck. He used to have a key. He didn't anymore. You could lay that gate down. It's just an old rickety, for all you people who are used to the old cattle gates that, you got the little sticks and the barbed wire. You could lay that gate down and drive over it and pop it back up.
Right.
Whatever conspired that morning, whatever happened, I believe there was an argument and a snap. What it was over Dylan laying the gate down? Could be. We don't know if Dylan laid the gate down. Could it be over Dylan, possibly backing the grain truck in too far and hitting one of his gates, like he said? I don't know. Possibly. We never seen the gate that was hit. Could it be because he wanted to ride home? Absolutely. But once again, it's all speculation. We weren't there. But what I truly feel and what we know is everything happened right there, right after that phone call.
Do you think he was shot?
I truly don't know. I can't see how you could clean up.
I know. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about,
yeah,
because people kept bringing that up, and I'm like, there would be so much evidence.
Right. And now that the FBI team has actually combed that, I am confident. I mean, and they're out there with rakes, and that's where those fresh dig marks came from inside the shed. That was the FBI. They weren't fresh. It was just something that they seen that said, okay, we're going to turn up some dirt. I truly believe there'd have been enough evidence. And you know what, guys? Who's to say there wasn't? Who's to say they haven't told us?
Right.
That we can't say that. And that's my frustration with Box Elder County is if you got more, say, hey, look, we really got more. We got some stuff that we are going to get to the bottom of this, but we can't tell you. But we don't even get that.
Right. I mean, they could at least give you a glimmer of hope that they're doing something.
But they don't talk to us.
Yeah. That's what I don't understand. We have to be completely in the dark.
Right. Why remain lead if you can't even talk to the family?
Right.
Right.
What's the point?
I agree.
Totally. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me that they wouldn't.
Thank
I mean, I get it. They can't tell you every piece of information that they have.
But they can tell us
But
they
at
have
least,
stuff that they can't tell us.
exactly, they could at least
Right?
keep you updated to make
Yeah.
you at least feel confident that
And
they're
like I
doing
said,
their job.
our FBI agent has done that. I
Right.
don't want to take credit away from that.
Oh,
But
that's great.
But if the lead agency isn't going to do it, they don't need to be lead.
Right.
That's part of being lead, right? That's part of your promise to protect and to serve and to have transparency. That was one of Potter's biggest things on his campaign for sheriff was transparency. Where is the transparency for us?
Exactly.
Why haven't we received that? Why do you run on that, but you don't act on it? You don't follow through.
That's
Can we and we know Brenner was there that day, right? At the grain shed.
Is I don't know. I mean, do we believe it? Absolutely. Do we have a way to prove it? No.
Why wasn't Dylan invited to any barbecues? Do we know this? Like,
Dylan would go eat with them. Dylan
but why wasn't he invited to any of the barbecues the Memorial weekend?
Dylan was planting. Who's to say he wasn't invited? Did Dylan say he wasn't invited?
Well, we heard that he wasn't invited to one, like, because he had to go. You know, he showed Kurt that he'd cleaned the back of his truck and then went home instead of staying at and eating with them. He went
coming from college. And second of all, he had to get his crop in.
Right.
Dylan would miss his birthdays.
See, that's why I don't understand why he would go all the way to Kurt's just to show him his truck, just to drive back to do his crop. It just never made sense to me.
I don't believe he did.
I
I do not believe I did. And like I said, those interviews are all over the board from what I've heard. And like, I don't listen to them, just what people tell me. But yeah, and Dylan would never accept an invitation to a barbecue. He would never go to a barbecue when his crops weren't in and he needed to get them in. It never happened. He wouldn't even attend his own birthday party. Like,
He'd probably grab some hot dogs, eat some hot dogs, leave the rest out, and get to work.
Exactly. Yep.
It
Exactly.
makes sense why the hot dogs are out, like you said. Do you believe whatever happened to Dylan was a crime of revenge against someone close to him like you? If not, who else has a motive to make Dylan disappear so cleanly without a trace?
I don't think anybody has a motive. I still believe it was a snap. Nobody had a motive to hurt Dylan. And when people say clean without a trace, that's not hard to do when you're giving a month to get rid of a trace. Think about it. Nothing. I mean, the first search warrant, I guess, was served on June 16th with Box Elder on that property. But the FBI went back and went through it. But you're given all this time. Let's say Brenner truly did it. Like, we've got evidence. He has not been formally charged, but let's just say he did. And I hate to speculate, but when you had, cops show up, you finally get arrested. I believe it was on the 10th on the one search or on the one warrant. You're back out the next day. They're kind of on to you. They come search your property the 16th. They once again leave you there and they give you clear till the 30th before they do anything. So if you actually did something and you have a criminal past like he does and you have that mind setting, you've had all this time to get rid of it. So clean disappearance, I believe we as a family, all of us, and I will speak for the family on this one, we believe we truly would have known what happened to Dylan, where he's at, and brought him home one way or another in the first week had Box Elder County sheriffs done their job. It was all right there in front of us.
Right.
That's powerful.
And I truly, and I have said this publicly, and I will say it again, if we bring Dylan home, I blame them. I blame them 100% for not doing their job. They did this to us as a family. It would not have changed the outcome of what happened Saturday. I don't blame them for that, but the way Dylan's case has been handled and the evidence that we have lost and not having him home and being able to either grieve or doctor him or whatever it may have been in that first couple days, I mean, I would say within the first 5 days, I blame them 100%, and I will never waver on that.
Right. Well, Brenner should have already been in jail anyway with his warrants and all that other stuff. We have to take that into account too. Right.
Exactly. I mean, they knew he had warrants and they didn't even go after him.
Which reminds me. So a lot of people have this confused, and I'm glad that it's kind of brought up. we talked about how the search and rescue set up shop over on Brenner's property, and Brenner wanted him out, and he's like, "You're bothering me," or whatever. Can you kind of clarify? Did they even set it up there, or did they not even get through the gate?
So yeah, so they were kind of set up right in between Brenner's camper and the shed. Now, it wasn't Brenner's property.
Yeah.
And we'd already got the letter that they had every right to be on it. When Search and Rescue told us Tuesday, day number 2, that we are pulling out because we are irritating Brenner. Brenner never told us they were irritating him. We weren't even talking to him. They said we don't want to irritate him anymore, so we are going to go set up.
So don't you find that like really odd? We don't want to bother him. No matter how much I think about this, I can't think of one justifiable reason why they would worry about making him uncomfortable when he's squatting and has a warrant. I mean, yeah, don't disturb him. That would be horrible. Oh, my word.
But loose and pond. And a couple of them did, but most of them. And at that point, with his criminal history that we now know he has, with the warrant that we knew he had for aggravated assault just in November, with a missing 19-year-old, with the boots, with all of this, why you don't want to annoy him, you don't want to irritate him, but why wasn't everything like stop? Something's wrong. Something about this is not adding up. With his last phone ping, and I'm going to answer this question while we're on this, just so we know. So people have said the discrepancy in the phone ping. So you got 251 and 351. All that is so close to the Pacific Mountain Time.
Lucin, Utah,
Right.
and then Montella, Nevada border.
Yeah, there's that. Time change.
That's why it's 351 and 251. The minutes and the seconds are the exact same. So there is no discrepancy there. It's just a time zone. But when they came to us and says, we believe this is the last place your son's phone pinged, and right here is within the radius, and he was nowhere in that radius, and his phone wasn't to be found, and nobody had heard from him, and his boots are found, and there's this violent criminal around him. He's got an arrest warrant. What part of this does not scream, oh my goodness, something bad happened here? How much more evidence do you need?
Exactly.
Yeah, people are like, aliens did it. Come on, guys.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Bigfoot did it.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, I've even had people email me, when people get abducted by aliens, they pull them out of their boots. And I'm like, oh, God.
Really?
Yeah.
You've watched E.T. one too many times, you guys.
No, sweet baby
phone a
Jesus,
doctor.
no.
You said in an interview that Kurt claimed Robert Aviles is the one who actually told Kurt that Chase had Dylan. Later, Kurt walked back in and said it was a psychic. Could you describe this phone call's contents in better detail, please?
It was unreal. It was and I've still got a couple of the voicemails, which I'm going to keep to myself.
Right.
But it was unreal because it went from, and yes, it was, everybody knows it was Robert. He said it was Robert who called him. It was Robert's house that they searched. That's all public information. But yeah, he was in this frantic, first it went from, I heard, this guy gave this guy a ride out there. And then it was 2 phone calls later and he's in the camper. And then I'm trying to get Justin back so he can sit and listen to me with it. And then they've got eyes on this particular residence and one of his brothers is watching it. So nobody leaves the camper because they know Dylan's in it. And it just like went into this whole crazed, just insane. I think there was probably 6 phone calls he sent me. And so we just bailed. How can you not? And at that point, it was like,
did Justin want to rip anyone's heads off, literally off their bodies at that point?
Well, so Justin was to the point where on day 2, we're starting to realize we're not getting help. We're starting to realize they're not taking this serious. And so Justin, he called Detective Blauer, and he said, if you don't get somebody out here to help us, I'm going to take this into my own hands. I'm not going to use the word rip somebody's head off because too many people take that literally.
Right. Yeah.
He was furious. Absolutely. I was furious. Right. My husband was furious. My parents, we were all so furious because nobody was listening to us that our son did not walk out of that desert.
No.
He absolutely did not. Come on, you found his boots. That is so huge. I mean, the first piece of evidence, which has now become one of the key ones, that's huge.
And the key evidence was sitting in the back of a truck for how long before they threw it into evidence?
Well, so I know, they were set on the back of one of the side-by-sides. And then when I was told Wednesday they were at the lab, so I'll tell you, so I've clarified this a few times. So when I was told Wednesday or Thursday they were at the lab, and did you know it was blood on your son's boots and it was his blood? And I said no. Okay, at that point they were not at the lab. They were still in one of the detectives' SUVs. Saturday, when the detectives came back out, and so I told Justin this because, like I said, they would split us up. They wouldn't tell us information together. So Blower told me that, but he did not tell Justin that. And here's my thing. They all had their little microphones on. So if that recording isn't there, there's a lot to be said about that.
Yeah, right.
So then Saturday, when we kept screaming and screaming to have Kurt interviewed, it was Friday or Saturday. I want to say Saturday, because we'd had the search party. They finally came out, and they were famous for this. They'd come out at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. That's when they'd show up. We're mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted. We can't even hardly stand up, and that's when they choose. So we're standing in a circle, and there's one of the lieutenants, the detective who told me about the boots, one of the deputies, and somebody else, one of the other guys. And so I said, well, what about the blood on Dylan's boots? And he got the deer in the headlight look. Well, they haven't been sent to the lab yet. And I said, that is not what you told. And I just stopped and I just walked away. I was like, I can't even deal with you people and your lies anymore.
How would they know if it was his blood then, if it hasn't been analyzed?
I don't even know why they told me that. I've never gotten an explanation. And I have said that in interview after interview after interview, and they have never addressed it. They literally will not.
It sounds almost like they were saying things just to get your reaction, like to see maybe if they thought you were suspected of doing something to your own son.
I don't think that has anything to do with the boots. I think they were just saying stuff to say it. We honestly feel like we were being
like they're doing stuff.
Like they're doing stuff, exactly. Like
that's true
over
too.
and over and over. I don't think it has anything to do. And this is another question, so we'll just clarify it now that we're on it. I never thought Justin was a suspect, and Justin never thought I was. We both love our son, but neither one of us were ever interviewed. We should have been the first two people to be interviewed, and then my husband after that, and then his parents, and then my parents, and then our other kids. Everybody, Dawn, Jim, everybody, that first day, we all should have been interviewed. No, that has never happened. I mean, they finally, Dawn and Jim, of course, but as far as us as a family, and we screamed to have it done.
Did Duty Ron ask you, hey, why didn't they interview you guys? Was that a question of his?
Yeah, and we don't know. We don't know. Like, they should have, and we were open to it. Ask us whatever you want. They never even asked us our whereabouts when Dylan went missing. They've never even asked us any of that. That just, to me, makes no sense. I thought the parents were the first people always questioned, right?
Yeah, closest family members, and then they branch it out to relatives, and then out to love triangles and whatever else going on, you know?
None of that was done.
Wow. That's so gross. I'm so sorry for that. That's like a parent's worst nightmare, on top of your kid going missing, having misinformation.
Yeah.
Lied to. Not only misinformation, but lied to make you think, oh, don't worry, we're doing stuff. That's his blood. Our detective work is great.
That is exactly how we feel.
In Chase's text messages to his ex, which have been read publicly, Chase said that Dylan was allegedly seen in Montello Saturday and also on Sunday loading something into his truck with Kurt. What do you make of this claim?
So we already traced that back, and that was not from Chase's ex. That was another lady who did speak out and get a hold of people, and it was the Saturday before that. She actually specifically took a picture of one of her flowers blooming and said, oh, I had that wrong. It was the Saturday before, and nobody wanted to listen to the fact that she corrected herself.
It blows me away. There's so many rumors and lies and shady people, and it just blows me away. You think, okay, well, it's got to be this guy. And there, you look the other direction, and it's like, oh my God, it's you. And that happens to me probably a good 2 times a day. Oh, I really do think Brenner, and I'm also like you guys, like I am thinking he didn't do it alone. So which one of these sketchy humans helped? Like Kurt is just like, I don't know. He's kind of a freak. And as far as Chase, I just think with Chase, he tried to get an alibi really fast in my mind by going to that pizza place. And he's still in jail and we're hearing nothing. So it just kind of, in my mind, kind of throws that kind of into the mix. So yeah, but I agree, Brenner, and I don't know.
As far as the messages between Chase and his ex, I have no clue. I don't believe a single text message I see put out there. That stuff is so easy to doctor. You can make a text message look like it comes from anybody if you want
right. to. No, yeah, for sure. There's been text messages spread around on another channel where they were said to be coming from Justin. I don't know if they did or not.
Exactly. It's like
so we don't know.
That'd be like saying, hey, this person sent me an email. Well, that's easy to fake. Even I could do that one. I mean, you can, you can erase anything out in technology now and put in whatever name you want. Like, look what I got from so-and-so. It's not true. It's such a bunch
of people are doing that to us all the time here on YouTube. They're always trying to clone you in real life and then also in YouTube life. So I get you. Is Ellie looking for Dylan as if he's still alive? Why is there no sense of urgency on the part of Ellie if Dylan is alive?
There was not a sense of urgency from day one. There has not ever been a sense of urgency. Not a single one. Nothing. You guys got to realize from when Box Elder County Search and Rescue pulled out, and like I said, I'm not harping on those guys. They did an amazing job. My problems with the detectives and the sheriff and how it's been handled. They do what they're told, right? That's what Search and Rescue does. It's not up to them. But literally, like I said, we feel like we were mocked as a family out there. Like it was a whole twirl our thumbs, maybe we'll think about it. I don't know. He's probably going to come back. No big deal. That's literally how we were treated. That's how we felt when they did show up.
Wow.
There's never been a
nonchalant.
Just nonchalant, just like, whatever. It's just another 19-year-old. Who cares?
Just another. That's our future. What's wrong with people?
I know, but that is truly how we were treated. And like I said, sometimes I really have to stop and rethink back through all this. And I've kept a really good timeline. It's all typed out. It's everything there. And sometimes I have to read through it. Sometimes I have to listen to some of the phone calls I recorded with the detectives to realize that it's real, because it is so absolutely negligent and ridiculous. I sometimes I'm like, is this happening? Like I gotta go.
Is this for real?
Is this for real? Is this truly happening? It is that unrealistic that any family should have to go through this, and that says how unrealistic it is if we start second guessing ourselves because you just can't even believe it.
Call the Attorney General. Please keep posting that in chat, mods. Call the Attorney General and voice your opinion about Box Elder and how we want them off the case. They're not doing anything. As a matter of fact, I hope they're listening now, because Box Elder, this isn't looking good for you.
No, it's not.
I hope you sue them eventually after we find Dylan, because somebody needs to not let this happen again to anybody.
No family needs to ever go through this. And I hope other people, we're doing all the awareness for Dylan, and we'll discuss that at the end. And I hope other people learn from our turmoil, because I speak out, and right now my biggest focus and my ability to keep my composure and hold myself together to do this is looking forward and saying, please, if the only good thing that we can make come out of this insane tragedy is to help another family know you can stand up to law enforcement. You can scream Don't be scared, and don't let this happen to your loved one's case, because it's unfair and it's not right.
Agreed.
No, it's not right at all.
If Box Elder County Sheriff Office has deemed Dylan's disappearance a criminal investigation, what have they done to treat the investigation accordingly? Besides nothing. Okay.
Yeah, it's like I said, there was a search warrant on the 16th. Another big ball that Box Elder dropped, in my opinion, and they're never going to get me to sway from this one either, is it was back in, I believe, August. Brenner was supposed to appear via, telecourt, the proper paperwork, because the black powder firearms charger in Box Elder, because that is a felony on a state level if you're a felon, and then the aggravated assault. They didn't even get the paperwork in to make him appear. The judge called his name. The judge didn't even know he wasn't going to be there. So to me, you're not even worried about prosecuting him on the charges you have in your own county, let alone the family, to have the confidence of you prosecuting whoever did this to Dylan. Are you kidding me? Why would I ever have the confidence in your department after how you've handled everything else? People forget there's still that aspect coming up. If somebody is found, and put on trial, why would us as a family trust Box Elder County to prosecute it?
Right. No. You probably wouldn't know that he wasn't there in court.
Exactly.
Zero faith in them at this point.
Exactly. Zero faith at this point. They have made so many mistakes that it's scary as to whether or not a person's actually going to be able to find him. I pray he can come home. But yeah, they have made a lot of mistakes that, I don't know, are questionable at best.
There's so many. There's another example, that same hearing, it's all the different hearings I was listening to. The one guy was let out of jail and they couldn't figure out why. He was supposed to appear and somebody let him out and they didn't even know why. This is live. This is public information. This is nothing. I mean, you can sit there and watch the hearings. This is how the department operates. This is why we want Dylan's case out of it.
Call the Attorney General, you guys. Make sure you voice your opinions. Right after this show, call. Say, we want Box Elder off this case. Send it to Elko. Send it to third graders. Send it to whoever. Third graders, maybe fourth graders.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Get it out of there. You've been criticized for keeping your composure during interviews, Candace. Do you have anything to say to the people who are saying that?
If I sat here and bawled my eyes out and couldn't get my words out, would you people sit here and listen to me and help bring our son home? I mean, then keep your emotions to a point in check. Trust me, people, I have my meltdowns. I have plenty of them. But this is not the time or the place. This is the time and the place to focus on bringing Dylan home. Me sitting here like a soup sandwich crying and constantly losing it and not being able to get facts and words out and keeping them straight does not do anything to help Dylan. It does nothing.
On top of that, you got to keep your composure for your family and your other kids as well.
Yes, and I have to do it for myself. Right. I have to, when I go to bed at night, I have to say, okay, you did everything you could today. You did it and you kept it together and you got the word out, and that's all I can do right now. Right. And that's the only way I am able to say, okay, let's try to shut it down for a minute and let's get prepared for another day and let's continue this fight until we bring Dylan home.
Agreed. Dylan goes missing on a holiday. I'm sorry, just go ahead.
So I totally agree with you on that. I mean, I know it's not easy.
No,
it's not. And I don't understand why people, why do people want to see that? Why do people want to see you hurting and upset?
Because misery loves company, and they're miserable people.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
They think it's her fault. They want her miserable because they think it's her fault. And so people are like that in this world.
Right.
Right. And look, what have we seen since the beginning of this case? It turned messy because one person wanted to take it to a different level and take it off of Dylan. And that's what happens. And now we're here to bring it back to Dylan to make sure it stays there.
Exactly.
So it says Dylan goes missing on a holiday weekend when were the extra people in town that would be normally be there. Okay. Dylan goes missing on a holiday weekend when there are extra people in town that wouldn't normally be there. Do you find this odd?
No, Dylan wasn't in town. Dylan was on his farm planting.
Right.
And there's nothing odd about people being in town at families' houses for a holiday weekend.
Sure.
There's nothing odd about that.
And they do it every year. That family actually does it every year. And it was the mother's birthday as well. It was a gathering for Memorial Day and a birthday.
Yeah. Like I said, nobody is cleared off of my plate besides us and the immediate family. I'm not giving anybody a pass or saying there couldn't possibly be anybody involved, right? I'm not saying that, but I find absolutely nothing odd about that.
Did Dylan have fertilizer stored at the grain shed? If so, was there anything missing?
No, no fertilizer.
Probably don't know that. No fertilizer. I know Ellie told you that Dylan's blood was on the boots, but have they shown you any proof of that? Any lab results or reports to back that up?
No. When they told me it was on the boots, they didn't even have the boots. We do know it was blood on the boots now. I will tell you guys that. We absolutely know that.
Right.
They have not released. And when I say blood, you got to realize it's like a drop. Like when Justin and I looked at the boots.
Like a bloody nose or something, like a blood drop out of your nose?
Yeah. Us, it looked like a drop of hydraulic oil. It was a dark spot. You know, they're the Georgia boots. Everything sinks in. It doesn't hold the color. So, yes, we know it was blood. Have they released to us whether or not it was Dylan's? No, they have not.
Wow.
Do you think hiring an attorney would help mediate the issues with Box Elder County?
If I wanted to try to restore a relationship with Box Elder County and have faith in them, probably so, but I don't want to do that, so no.
Was there a backpack belonging to Dylan found in the search around the properties?
Yes, Dylan's high school backpack was in, sorry, I gotta answer this, was in his camp trailer. It was there the whole time. It had his gym shoes in it, his schoolwork. It was nothing, it was there the whole time. There's nothing of it.
There's only a few more questions, by the way, and then we'll get into what you're doing. So, Ellenberg, did you meet and talk with her at the casino? Were you aware she recorded your conversation?
I am 100% fine if she recorded it. She's a wonderful person, and all she was giving us was ideas on areas to search. I don't care who records our conversations.
She's the one who actually took the pictures and of the bunker and put them out on YouTube for somebody else to put on YouTube.
Okay, yeah. And that's great. That's great. I mean, I have. She was the citizen who reached out to help. I have no problem with that, and I have no problem being recorded because we have nothing we're hiding. We have nothing. It's just like when I reached out to you, Doug. And you asked me, "Are you the real Candace?" Apparently, there's a lot of fake ones out there. I'm learning.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So how awesome is that? All the problems she has had with media and social media, pretty much in every which direction she's been attacked. And she actually got a hold of Doug. And I mean, that shows me a lot about what kind of person he is, because I didn't really think Candace would ever reach out to anybody. So again, I just think this is a wonderful interview. They did a kick butt job. And once again, thank you for allowing me to share this footage. I appreciate it.
I don't have a problem. Like, if a person has a problem being recorded, it's because they're lying or saying stuff they shouldn't. And that's not where we're at as a family. We're at awareness. We're at bring Dylan home, get whoever did this out in the open. We need to know what happened. Just like you said, Doug, use this interview, blast it everywhere. Help us with awareness. Help us blow up the Attorney General's office. You know, it worked. It worked with Box Elder County. It was a small win, but it was a win, guys. And it was a win we could not have done without all the supporters around the country. We're not strong enough and big enough as a family voice to get it done by ourselves. We need the help. We have to have the help, and we have to have the voices heard saying this is wrong and somebody else needs to take this over, and we need to bring Dylan home. And Box Elder County, that does not seem to be their main concern. They might say it is, but actions speak louder than words.
Do not call Box Elder County. Do not call the Attorney General. Straight ahead. Just jump over to the top. Let's all do it. I'm going to make a call right after the show. We're all going to do this. So let's flood that phone line.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely.
Emails. If you don't want to call, email them.
Call them, email them. You've got their address. Write them letters, and don't stop until we get answers.
And if you email them, share this link to them and tell them they should watch this.
Exactly.
Right? Because what's going to happen now, there's going to be a bunch of people who are going to retire or whatever. They're going to want to get the hell out of that, out of Box Elder after you're done with them. I'll tell you that.
I hope so.
So that's the end of the questions that we were sent. Let me ask you stuff. What's the next step? Because I know that you're a strong woman. People are already probably reaching out to you for help for their families or what they're going through. What are your plans? What are your goals?
I've been back and forth on it. And I'm not going to finalize anything until we bring Dylan home. But like I said, my whole plan is when we bring Dylan home and our family can begin to heal, I don't want to see other families go through this. I've had a lot of moms reach out to me from across the country saying, I wish we would have done what you're doing. Our son's case, our daughter's case, my wife's case, my husband's case. I've heard it from all different angles. Went cold in months, and we just trusted law enforcement. We followed their lead, and now they're cold cases. And I need everybody I can reach out to know I will jump on a plane and I will stand by your side after we bring our son home to scream with you to never let this happen again. I am doing nothing wrong. Us as a family, we're doing nothing wrong. This is our constitutional right. Our family did not put their hand on a Bible and swear to protect and serve. The people who have let Dylan down are the ones who did that. We did not do that. And people need to realize it's so hard, and it has been challenging, and it has been such a learning curve that this even exists. There is no manual. There is no right and wrong. There is no do's and don'ts. You as a mother, you as a husband, you as a wife, you as a grandparent, I don't care who you are, when your loved one goes missing and you know him like we knew our son, you follow your gut and you don't ever let anybody waver you from that, because they don't know who they're trying to find. We do.
Right.
And I will make sure it is life-changing, not just trying to find out what happened to Dylan and bring him home one way or another. It has changed my whole outlook on everything I've ever wanted to do. I don't want to just run trucks and happily go off in the sunset. I want to help. And if you can't be your own voice, fine. I'll do it for you. I have no problem. I will come scream with you. I will drop everything.
That is amazing. And I think that's great. And you've been in contact with the Petitos as well, I'm sure.
Yes, sir. Foundation reached out. Yep.
Good.
That's amazing. See, that's good to have that kind of support to turn to too when you really have your lowest moment, right?
Yep. And somebody just that knows, that's been through it, that you're lost. You're just lost.
We can't let this happen to anybody else. We can't let Box Elder do this to somebody else. We cannot give up on finding Dylan. We won't give up on finding Dylan. There are some things that you have on your Facebook page, right?
Yes. You want to pull those pictures up?
Sure. If you don't mind us covering your face for a second.
That's fine.
Cool. So we'll start with these.
So we are, so these are sunflower freshies. The spot that has the Finding Dylan rounds, Justice for Dylan rounds, is not glued onto them. It's just sealed to them. I've made all of these. Justin Sides helping me get them all mailed out. He's contributing. These are free. Go on to Dylan's Facebook page. Go onto the Find Dylan rounds. There's a link. There's an email address. It's finddylanrounds@gmail.com. You guys can request these. We will mail them out. They do not cost anything.
And you hand make these yourself, right? You personally make these.
Yes, I've made every one of them.
Those are so beautiful.
Yes, my dogs were not impressed with the house smelling like sunflowers for 3 days. But This is awareness, guys. We are not a family out there looking for money. We are not a family out there looking for attention for us. This is all about keep Dylan in your hearts, in your mind, in your prayers, in your thoughts, however it is you keep people close to you. Please do it for him. These are the mirror bead hanger things people use all the time now. You can also clip them on your keychain. It took me a little while to get all the charms. There's a tractor charm or a sunflower charm, but you can specifically request, I want one with a sunflower, or I want a sunflower set of beads with a freshie. We are trying to keep everything out there. So when people look at this and you say, oh, I have this cute keychain now, or, it's hanging from my mirror. Oh, maybe I should call the Attorney General's office again. This is awareness. This is, there's not donations. This is straight up, keep Dylan's name out there and help us.
How can we help besides requesting these? Is there a way to donate? I mean, you've never asked and I've never seen. Is there a way?
No. We've we've had a ton of people ask, and the amount of support from my friends, my family, my immediate family, can we help you make these? Can we help you put these together? I've done it all myself, and I'm not going to change that. Like I said, Justin's helping me on the postage and getting them shipped outside. If I have somebody else, if I say, okay, here's a bunch of beads, here's how I want them put together, I might as well order them done. This is keeping me like
personal connection.
Yes. Right. And it's like, we're doing this, son. And I guarantee you, wherever Dylan is at, and if we bring him home and he's fine, he will die laughing at me, because I am not a crafter, guys. I am not a person. I am the person who goes on to Etsy and I buy it. So this has been a struggle, but I've got through it and I figured it out.
But those are beautiful. I think you did a great job.
Yeah,
you know what my screen is, and I don't mean to jump off subject here, but it reminds me of The Incredible Shrinking Woman when she's in a huge chair and we got this little woman, and I'm like, is that a real chair?
Yeah, it's kind of like your comment. My feet don't touch
so
the ground.
Cool.
Chairs. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, they do not touch the ground. Yeah, I'm short.
My mom was 4'11". My mom had to pre-order her shoes. Rest in peace, but pre-order her rent and everything. She was so tiny. Yeah. So I get it. So so we have you guys can go over there and get the freshies, get those sent to you guys, and thank you for planting the sunflowers as well. A lot of people did plant sunflowers.
And we're still sending out seeds all over, guys. So if you didn't get seeds, you want some for next year, I still got tons. We made so many. We've got people that have requested, we want a freshie and we want a set of beads and we want a couple more things of seeds. No problem. Here you go. It's all about awareness.
Right.
That is what we need it to be, is awareness.
And to do that, you guys, again, as long as it's used in good taste, please take this video and use it on your channel. Share it on your social medias. I don't care if you play it on your channel. Just keep it in good taste about Dylan. That's it.
Right.
Yes. And just remember, that's why we're stepping back out. If it doesn't come from myself or Justin's mouth, all this speculation, that's why we wanted to get all this out today and get the question and answers out. And I'm sure.
You see, and I totally agree with Doug with him saying use it for the right purposes. This is not to bash anybody. Absolutely not. That's not what my platform is about. This is about Dylan Rounds. And where is this kid? Okay, man-child. Where is he? So, yeah. Like I said, I'm very grateful for having the community that I do, because the ones that are out there that are so negative and hurtful to some of these families, it's beyond not acceptable. It's about these missing people. So, I mean, Doug's channel, Lisa's channel, so that's I'm No Thanks and Crime and Justice. Absolutely make sure you're subscribed to them, because look at how impressed they are. Just good job.
We'll continue updating as things happen, you know, as soon as we got something that I can say, that even if it's just a 20-minute chat, like we have this piece of information now, guys, this is where we're at. Or even if I have to come on and say, I wish we had something more, but we don't, we will keep updated and just keep hounding on law enforcement with us.
Or we'll just come on and say, hey, call the Attorney General again. And just a reminder.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Just keep calling them, keep emailing them, you've got their address, keep sending them letters.
Yeah. You know what? It's about time.
We make enough noise, they're going to start paying attention.
Well, it's our tax dollars that go to them. We pay taxes. They work as public servants, right? If they didn't want to do that job, they shouldn't have taken that job.
Exactly.
That's a fact. They swore to uphold an oath, and if they're not doing it, that means they're instead of serve and protect, it's harass and collect. That's all that is. It turns into that.
Yep. And I will be honest. I mean, we're not above if Box Elder came out and apologized. If we got anything that made us feel like they thought more about not only our son, but us as a family, and that we deserve better, you know, I would say, hey, we had a conversation with them. They apologized. We're not going to release, you know, the specifics, but let's move on from this. We got this out of the air. Everything's cleared. The table's clear. We're starting over, but we don't even get that. We get nothing. We get lied.
You would think they would cover their butts by just at least apologizing. If they could lie about everything else, you'd think they could at least lie with an apology.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we get lied to from the sheriff's mouth to our faces on August 29th. We get bold-faced lied to yet again. It's not okay.
So you heard it yourself, you guys. Unless it comes out of her mouth or Justin's mouth, it's not true. Don't pay attention to anything. And again, this channel will not be a speculative thing on this case. Anything we've talked about in the past on this case is in the past, right? Today's a fresh day for Dylan. Today, Dylan needs a fresh start. A factual fresh start is what we'll call it.
Yes, absolutely. And I so appreciate everybody who's joined and the fantastic questions.
Thank you.
Letting me clearing the air with Doug, all of us, you know, working together to bring Dylan home. That's what we need. We need a united front with everyone to accomplish what we want to accomplish to bring Dylan home.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Well, I agree. And Candace, I do hope that you come back again, and you have my personal number. You call me anytime, and I'm sure we'll be in touch for sure. I'm going to be putting links in all my videos for you know, to get people to get these freshies and get this stuff for Dylan to monument him. You know, keep him in your eyes. Keep him. As soon as people stop talking about people, they get forgotten.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we can't let that happen. We're not going to let that happen.
We will not let anybody forget Dylan.
Last question then would be: did you feel this case was turning cold before today?
Yeah. Yeah. I will be honest. I have, since we met with Box Elder County on the 29th, and especially in the last about 5 or 6 days, I have had some really big battles in my own head. You know, the one elf on the one side, the other elf on the other side, saying, what do we do now? Where do we take this? And I'm in touch with all the mainstream media people, and I get it. Like, it's hard for them to do a blip. You know, us, we've had a couple hours, we can get out everything, but they need a blip of something that's going to catch somebody's eye for mainstream media. We can't give them that because nothing has happened. So that's when I decided, and like I said, no, I need to reach out. I need to pick some more people, and I need to reach out, and I need to talk to these people, and we need to make a plan together. And I got the exact response I wanted. I got the exact response I wanted from Doug. I know I caught a lot of criticism about going back to YouTube, but if this was your child, and mainstream media, for all you people who think YouTube's not the place to do it, and mainstream media quit covering your child, mainstream media didn't cover him in the first place. It was YouTube. Do you go silent, or do you go back to the source that you know will help get you the attention your child deserves again?
Right.
And that is why I made the decision I made.
Well, you have to take it globally on YouTube, which is a blessing, because you got people who not give up on Dylan. I'm sure the Attorney General is going to get a call from the UK, and they're going to get some I'm sure they're going to get accents they're not going to even understand. But
UK,
these people are going to be
Australia,
represented. Yeah,
right.
41 countries.
So we've got so much, and if any of them are watching and paying attention, I will just throw this out there, and this is not a threat. We will not go away. Do not think you will ever silence us on how Dylan's case has been handled and what's going on still to this day. When this case is handed over, which it needs to be, and we bring Dylan home, I might be a little bit quieter, but only a little. And that's just to have my own peace for a moment. It is absolutely unbelievable, period.
Well, you have a wealth full of people in chat that are just praising you and letting you know how strong of a woman you are. And you know what? I'm proud of you. I'm not only proud of what you're doing, I'm proud to finally know the real Candace and got to see what's really going on, because you hear all this in the background. You got to decipher, and you got to keep people in your life long enough to figure out who's telling the truth, what's lies, what's not. And you get to weed those people out and weed new people in. And I'm glad that you gave me an opportunity to do this, and you come on here and give us another chance on social media. And I'm glad that you did this today, and you took a lot of time out to not only let me know, how you felt about the questions, which was important because, again, we didn't want the same questions, but there was also certain questions that we wanted to stay away from for certain things, and that had been answered so many times. And you guys phenomenally sent perfect emails. We used every single email nearly, and some extra stuff. And right. Candace was willing to answer everything, which that's the kind of interviews we like. And that's what we're going to do from here on out. We want to know what you guys want to know. So we're not talking in circles, right?
Yes,
and throwing
absolutely.
things out there. So
Definitely. I mean, facts matter. That's all that matters. Is facts. And bringing Dylan home.
That's right.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, is there anything else, Candace, that you'd like to cover or say until next time?
Yes, next time. And I promise when we have something we can update that we can release. I mean, right now we're really getting nothing, but we will absolutely keep the community who has rallied around Dylan informed. You guys deserve it too. You people who helped us accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. You guys deserve to know also. So just know we will tell you as soon as we can. And even if there's nothing to say, even if I just gotta shoot Doug a text and say, hey guys, we have nothing. This is where we're at. Continue calling. We will keep everybody updated who's helping to bring him home. And we truly appreciate it.
And you know what? We'll continue to talk about Dylan a couple times a week to make sure nobody forgets, right? I don't care how many views the video gets. It's going to get a lot because people are interested in Dylan. But it don't matter. One person watching, that person may have an answer.
Exactly. You never know. You never know.
Well, I just adore you, Candace, and thank you for choosing us. And Crime and Justice, thank you for your assistance in getting the questions together for both of us as well. You guys are amazing. Again, teamwork makes the dream work. Please share this video out. Let's hashtag bring Dylan home in the chat. Thank you again, Candace. Thank you, Crime and Justice. Enjoy your family. Bye-bye.
Virtual hugs. We love you.
Virtual hugs, man. Bye-bye. All right, you guys. Appreciate you guys being here for the interview. I think it went well. We got your questions answered, I hope.
So, absolutely. Go over here. So, yeah, I'm so glad we were able to go through that again. I missed a lot because, you're modding, so you're kind of doing a few different things. So I just think it's awesome that they allow us to put this out. I mean, I'm growing. I'm growing. So my interviews would never be that great, not in a million years. So thank you so much, you guys, for allowing us to share this. And again, you guys, thank you so much for being here. You guys have sat with me through, sorry, I think I told you the fires, sitting with me through Queen Elizabeth. Oh my goodness. And I'll probably go there again in the morning. So much is happening as far as that goes. And yeah, Dylan, I think we need to get him back out there again because he is starting to kind of fade away. And I don't want to see that for him or his family. So, guys, I think I'm going to jump off. I haven't seen my husband all day. So, yeah, I'll jump off for now. And I'll absolutely see you guys in the next one. Have a great evening. Bye for now.